Football on the Big Ten Network is powered by Unleaded 88. Madison, Wisconsin, the Badgers hoping to bounce back after a loss here last week to Washington State. And the Badgers getting set to take the field, playing New Mexico State today here in week 3 of the college football season. Paul Chryst making his walk. The team about to join him in one of the best atmospheres coast to coast in college football here at Camp Randall, awaiting to meet the Badgers. Wisconsin last week ranked number 19. They talked this week about the frustration with that loss last week, dropping out of the rankings. They still believe that they've got a team that can not only contend in the West, but win the West as they were predicted to do in the preseason. And they are out to prove that here this afternoon. And here come the Badgers, who are 56-4 at Camp Randall since the year 2000. And with that, a pleasant good afternoon. Welcome to the broadcast booth. Brandon Gaudin and Joshua Perry, happy to be with you. So that loss last week against Washington State dropped the Badgers to 1-1. A frustrating loss, 11 penalties, 2 missed field goals, a game they feel they should have won. Today they play a New Mexico State team that is struggling. They've struggled to stop the run. Wisconsin has 2 very talented running backs that should have a big day today.
We'll start off with Braylon Allen, one of those talented running backs, and I think he's the best running back in this conference. He's got the size, he's got the speed, he's got the footwork, he's got really good contact balance, which means you're not just going to knock him down. His vision is phenomenal, but you can't forget about Ches Malusi, a guy who's a good change of pace back in this offense. When we talked to the Wisconsin offensive staff, they said he has earned the right to his fair share of carries, and both of these guys should be able to have success today.
It'll be interesting to see if that defense can continue to have success. You know, last year they were so good. They led all of college football in yards given up per game, but they lose 8 starters. Everyone's wondering, would they be able to bounce back? So far, they've been pretty solid.
This defense has been really good out the gates, and I think it starts up front for them with Keanu Benton, one of their veteran players. He's known as a leader on this team. We asked Paul Chryst, what did the guys in the locker room say after this game? He said the only guy that really spoke was Keanu Benton. His name resonates, his voice resonates throughout that locker room. So for him, his job now is to make sure he can permeate that through the other levels of the defense where guys are a little bit younger. That's going to be imperative for Wisconsin's success throughout the year.
And now let's go down to the field and welcome in the third member of our crew. Here's Rick Pizzo.
The guy in the front of that defensive room, Jim Leonhard, very well known, very highly respected as a DC, but the offensive coordinator, brand new, bit of a wild card. Bobby Engram, former wide receiver, one of the few guys to make the transition from that position to being an OC. Because of his playing days, Engram says he's more intuitive than he is a pre-scripted play caller. Going into this game, though, he does have a couple of goals. One is to get Graham Mertz involved and potentially get him involved downfield. Badgers haven't looked for many shots this year. They could certainly do that against New Mexico State and build some confidence for Mertz. The other goal is to make sure that all of these talented running backs get enough touches. Ingram called Braylon Allen a very special talent, but he also went out of his way to talk about the other running backs, not just Chez Mellusi, but also third stringer Isaac Guerendo, who Ingram believes can be a factor both running and catching the ball out of the backfield, and will be a huge part of Wisconsin's future success if they plan to challenge for the Big Ten West.
All right, Rick, there is Paul Chryst in his 8th season, 66 wins against 24 losses. And as he told us yesterday when we asked him, do you worry about your team overlooking an 0-3 New Mexico State squad? And he said pretty bluntly, if they do, they're not very smart. He said that he is going to have his guys ready to go here this afternoon. And on the other sideline, a face that's familiar to Big Ten fans, Jerry Kill, who was the head coach at Minnesota from 2011 to 2015 before health issues forced him to step down in the middle of the 2015 season. He has never beaten the Badgers. 0-5. Don't forget to download the Fox Weather app. A little humid today, but temperatures comfortable, climbing through the mid to upper 70s with light winds out of the southwest. The Aggies won the toss. Wisconsin will receive it. Isaac Guerendo, one of those running backs that Rick mentioned, third on the depth chart. Also a very good kick returner, and he will have the opportunity to lead us off here as Ethan Albertson has it teed up for New Mexico State. Camp Randall, they're on their feet, they're ready to go, and off we go with a low line drive kick. Guerendo takes it down around the 1 yard line. Finds a seam. Guerendo out near midfield before he's finally shoved out of bounds. A great start for the Wisconsin Badgers. A 50-yard return, so that makes it a shorter field for the junior from Overland Park, Kansas, Graham Mertz. 23rd start last week in his 22nd start. Some good, some bad. Did have a fourth quarter interception.
This Wisconsin coaching staff says that Graham Mertz has to just play the game that comes to him instead of trying to force the plays. And I think this is a great opportunity today against the competition he's going to see to do exactly that.
Braylon Allen in the backfield, who is off to a tremendous start this season, and they go right to him. And look at that second effort. And we expect to see a lot of Braylon Allen against a New Mexico State defense that has struggled to stop the run through 3 ball games. It is a talented running back in Braylon Allen and a good offense for Wisconsin.
It is, and when you look at these Wisconsin offenses, you always start with the running backs, but one of the guys I have my eye on is the tight end in Clay Cundiff. This is a guy who can stay in line and block, but can also make plays down the field as a receiver.
There is one change that you may have seen at right tackle. Riley Mallman, who would be the starter, is out again with an injury. So Logan Brown gets the start on the right side of the line as Allen gets the second carry. And they're going to say he's just a bit short, it appears, as you get New Mexico State's defense here. Chris Ojo, certainly one to watch. He's their leader, the linebacker, and they will say first down, Wisconsin on that carry. And another run right up the middle. There he goes. Braylon Allen's gone. Touchdown, Wisconsin. 39 yards. Well, you said Braylon Allen could have a big game. He had every touch there, and he ends it with a 39-yard run.
And this is the way you want to start it off. Wisconsin, come out, run the football, get yourself into a rhythm, take advantage of what the game plan has out there for you. And when you've got a guy like Braylon Allen in the backfield, of course you want to just hand him the ball and let him go to work.
Extra point good. By the way, normal kicker Vito Calvaruso is out with a leg injury. So Nate Van Zelst with his first extra point. And what a start for Wisconsin. A 50-yard kick return, and then 3 plays later, all runs by Braylon Allen. He does the rest.
You see just some great footwork at the line of scrimmage here, getting into a jump cut, but you see the vision as well, and it's one of the things that I love about Braylon Allen. He knows where the play is going to develop before it actually hits. So a lot of times he can hit that burst full speed into the open field, and great things happen. You touch the paint early on in the game.
His 3rd touchdown of the season. He had 98 yards last week, did Braylon Allen. And that number is sort of interesting because Wisconsin is 9-0 when he rushes for 100 yards. Well, he's well on pace to go over 100 today as he accounted for every yard on that drive.
It was good on the special teams as well. To get the ball out to midfield as a drive starter early on in the game, that makes a difference. One of the things that hurt Wisconsin last week was the lack of special teams plays being made properly.
Yeah, Paul Chryst was so frustrated with the 2 missed field goals, just in general the special teams blunders beside the missed field goals, and of course the 11 penalties that Wisconsin had last week helped Washington State come in here and pull off the upset. Jonathan Brady with a fair catch for the Aggies. Now the Aggies this year have been playing 2 quarterbacks and kind of going back and forth between this man, Diago Pavia, and Gavin Frakes. So it will be, it appears, Diago Pavia who will get the start. But you see the numbers combined between them, Joshua. It's been a struggle.
It has been a struggle. Under 50% completion for both of them. Pavia gives you a little bit more of a running effect, but they're both mobile quarterbacks. So I think New Mexico State is going to try to play it by the hot hand, whichever guy is having the best game at the moment.
He started their first 2 games. They had a week 0 game against Nevada. He also started the loss against Minnesota and then came off the bench last week against UTEP. Here's pressure right away. He is able to complete it. But he got hit just as he released it into the hands of Justice Powers for a 6-yard gain.
You can just see it's a middle blitz right here. John Meta does a great job of getting up on the quarterback. You want to create pressure all day long. It's something this Wisconsin defense has been known for, but with the young linebacker group, sometimes it's hard to get aggressive because they're not assignment sound. These guys are learning on the fly and doing a great job.
John Meta, one of those new inside linebackers. When I say new, he's been around, but first year starting here with all the turnover that Wisconsin had on defense. And the Badgers get pressure again, and they force Pavia to just throw that one errantly and bring up a 3rd down and 4. Now, New Mexico State, they are also having some issues up front with some offensive line injuries, so we may see some different combinations for the Aggies this afternoon.
I think that's going to be the advantage for Wisconsin. As much pressure as you can get, own the line of scrimmage, make sure it's changing directions. That is a clear advantage for the Badgers.
You see 51, A.J. Vaipulu, one of the guys, a true freshman that's getting the start here today. A tough task for a young offensive line. Pavia on 3rd down and 4, pressure again. And he throws it in the direction of Jonathan Brady, incomplete. Flag does come out here, back by where Pavia was dropped, so this may be against Wisconsin. Our referee today, Cole Kneppel.
Personal foul, roughing the passer with targeting. Defense number 95, 15-yard penalty in the previous spot, automatic 1st down. The previous play is under further review.
And how big could this be? Keanu Benton, the captain, making his 27th career start. You talked about how key he was, called for targeting here.
Yeah, as one of the leaders on this team as a whole, it's difficult when your leaders have a penalty like this. We'll check this play right here. Certainly does get him after the ball is released. Not sure if they would consider that the crown of the helmet. Love to hear some of the expertise on this one.
Well, this is the perfect time to welcome in Mike Pereira. Mike, you've gotten a couple looks of this now. What do you think? We're having some audio difficulties getting Mike Pereira back in the studio right now, but they're taking a look at this up here in the booth. Targeting always reviewed, but the call on the field was that. Targeting on Keanu Benton. If it would stand, he would be ejected from the game, and we haven't even played but 2 minutes and 15 seconds. But you noticed, it was very evident. We talked about how that offensive line might struggle to contain Wisconsin. Well, we'll get the call here.
There is no foul for targeting on the play. Number 95 may remain in the game. The 15-yard penalty for roughing the passer is still enforced. 1st and 10, New Mexico State.
That's the thing to remember. That 15-yard penalty does stay intact.
Right, and that's the right call, too. It certainly was roughing. The question was the targeting component present in there? Certainly not. And it's great that you don't lose Benton out there on the football field. He's necessary for his leadership. He's got to be careful, though. I know you want to make sure that you can get a hit on the quarterback, but you got to be smart about it.
Even if they wanted to remove the roughing the passer call, you cannot do that. It's 15 yards. They can only review the targeting. So the football goes out to the 46-yard line. But on all 3 plays, Wisconsin's defense has been able to penetrate through and put pressure on the quarterback, Diego Pavia. The junior this time keeps it, and he's dragged down in the backfield by the man who just got freed up to continue in this game, Keanu Benton, for a loss of 3.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly why you want him in the game. He can change at any time. Just the athleticism, gets up the field, and then the change of direction. That's a very difficult play to make from the interior of the defensive line. Benton's able to read it and then make the play.
His 27th career start, I mentioned that, by the way, the most on the team. The senior from Janesville, Wisconsin, backing him up 2nd and 13. Inside run, and just not able to get any push. Gain of maybe 1. That'll set up 3rd down and long. So this Wisconsin defense, so good last year, led the nation in yards given up. And as we talked about, Joshua, they've been good here so far.
They have been good. It's been the strength of their team for years and years. The 2 guys I'm really looking out for just in terms of their performance today are John Mehta and Turner, a couple of young inside linebackers. They have a lot on their plate in this defense, and it's a great opportunity to go out there and get the reps, make the calls out on the football field.
Yeah, Booma's young Mehta, Jordan Turner. Again, a couple of guys who have waited their turn. Wisconsin always so good at that linebacker position. 3rd down and 11. They will try to run it up the middle and going to be well shy of the line to gain. Only a 4-yard pickup for Jamani Jones, the sophomore out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. And the Aggies will punt the football. But you could see just in the trenches the difference there and the advantage that Wisconsin has on that drive.
Wisconsin on the defensive line, they're big on the inside, but one of the things that you recognize watching the tape, those guys are really light on their feet. They're big athletes, and so they're at a disadvantage because of the size, but also the athleticism you can't compare either.
Getting the punt away, Josh Carlson. And Dean Ingram, the son of offensive coordinator Bob Ingram, with a fair catch, a punt of 44 yards. Well, next Saturday, we're all Big Ten all morning. Dave, Jerry, Howard, and Nicole, they'll preview every matchup. Mike and Brock, they'll deliver all the fun on site from State College. It's presented by Buffalo Wild Wings next Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern on the Big Ten Network. So the last drive, 49 yards, all by Braylon Allen. Graham Mertz yet to throw a pass. Another tote for number 0. And look at him just evading tacklers. And carrying it out for a 9-yard gain, 2nd and 1. All right, we welcome those of you who just saw Indiana come from behind and get a win over Western Kentucky. Brandon Gaunt, Joshua Perry, Rick Pizzo, Mike Pereira with you here at Camp Randall. 5 minutes in. Wisconsin on the opening drive had a 39-yard touchdown run by Braylon Allen. Now they have the football back after getting a stop defensively. And on the outside, Hayden Rucci, the tight end, with his 3rd catch of the season. A gain of 11 and a 1st down.
You see Wisconsin out here trying to stretch the defense out, running those guys guys over to the sideline. Really good concept. It's a shallow pass, but it helps your quarterback and Mertz get into a good rhythm, a high percentage throw. I like that for the first pass attempt of the game.
Graham Mertz, so much discussion in the offseason about can he improve certain things, his accuracy, not forcing the ball. And Paul Chryst said the early returns have been there is improvement. But here he hands it off for a 2-yard run by Braylon Allen. Impact Players brought to you by Auto Owners Insurance. Take it away, Joshua.
Yeah, when you look at Wisconsin, we mentioned Braylon Allen. I love everything about his game, his vision, the way that he can cut on a dime, his contact balance, which I'll get into later. Chimere Dike is a leader in that wide receiver room. And then for New Mexico State, Bryce Jackson's going to have to be big in that secondary today coming downhill. And then you got Chris Ojo, who plays a linebacker position like a real linebacker.
2nd down and 8. Flips it outside, staying on his feet. Another opportunity for Rucci. So Rucci, 2 catches combined in the last 2 games. He has 2 on this drive. 9 yards there.
And it seems like Wisconsin offensively is trying to take what's out there. So you run the football, you get the safeties and the secondary in there tight. Now you want to spread it out, throw the football a little bit. And I think balance is going to be important. It's something we've heard that coaching staff talk about. But as much as they can mix personnel, formation, and play type is going to be important.
Chez Malusi's out there now in the backfield. Here's his first touch of the afternoon. Out to the 45. What a 1-2 punch. You got Braylon Allen. Remember, last year was kind of reversed. Chez Malusi started, then he had the injury, and now Braylon Allen the lead back, and Malusi comes in as number 2.
Yeah, I mean, Braylon Allen is a big back, so he's going to get you those tough yards. We saw him in the open field, certainly can run. Chez Malusi, a little bit smaller, has got a little more wiggle to him, and I think they're a great complement for one another.
Malusi tore his left ACL against Rutgers last year on November 6th, but he bounced back with a rehab and has been good so far this season as he gets tripped up shy of the marker, and that'll bring up 3rd down and 2. We thought, though, that they would go run heavy, and that has certainly been the case so far.
It's what you do best. I think it's the thing that this offense is most comfortable with. And coming off of a loss, you want to make sure that you get your rhythm and your mentality back. So grind them out on the ground, get those tough yards. But also you have to throw it when the opportunity presents.
9 plays so far for the offense, 7 of them runs. But this will be a pass on 3rd and 2. And incomplete. Mertz had Chimere Dike open. You see Graham Mertz now pleading to go for this on 4th and 2.
And it feels like a go-for-it type of situation based off of the play call. Not exactly sure if they will, but when you take a shot on 3rd down like that, it's telling your quarterback you're pretty confident that you can pick up a 4th and short at midfield.
Last year, Graham Mertz, 60% completion percentage, and he talked all offseason about how he wanted to get up that up closer to 70. Those are the types of throws you got to make, Joshua.
And that was a great schemed-up pass in order to take the shot, so certainly you want to make it, but we also know that Graham Mertz is fighting this battle right now of consistency. So these are the types of plays that he's going to review and wish that he could get back.
Andy Vunovich, 3rd-year starter at punter, boots it away. And trying to keep it out of the end zone, but he cannot. Ingram tried to slap it back. But a 52-yard punt nets only 32 as it does go in for a touchback. Football on the Big Ten Network is powered by Unleaded 88. New Mexico State 0-3. They had a game week 0, so they played one more than the Badgers, who beat Illinois State here and then were upset last week by Washington State 17-14, and that dropped the Badgers out of the rankings. But right now Wisconsin up 7-0. Second drive of the game for the Aggies. And it's going to be a handoff to Star Thomas. First-year JUCO transfer takes it up the middle for a gain of 3 as we take a look at the impact players brought to you by Auto Owners Insurance.
Yeah, you got Cordell David. He's a wide receiver out there for New Mexico State. More of a consistency guy. Star Thomas, who just had the carry. He's going to be featured in the run game, but can also catch the football. But defensively for Wisconsin, Nick Herbig, one of my favorite players just in terms of the mentality of this guy. He is absolutely nuts. And John Torchio, that safety you'll see moving around all 3 levels of the defense.
And one of those safeties, Hunter Wolder, is out again with an injured leg. They say he may not be back for several weeks. Play fake. Pavia is going to take a shot here. Some hand fighting and a one-handed interception for Ricardo Holman, the redshirt freshman.
Man, that is an absolutely crazy play down the field. New Mexico State thought they were going to try to take a shot. When you get into single coverage, you have to make the play as a defender. A one-handed interception is one of the top plays that you can make. And you're going to see some physicality here on both sides. A little hand fighting, maybe a little bit of a grab there. But to get your eyes around, make sure that you can locate the ball and then control it with one hand. Oh my gosh, that is an absolutely crazy play.
Now, Cordell David, the intended target, was looking around for interference. He may have had a claim, but you're right. Either way, what a fantastic catch.
You know, as a defensive guy, I tend to want to overlook some of the defensive penalties, but there certainly was some grabbing going on in there.
You see that note, 4 interceptions by 4 different Badgers entering today. Now make it 5 different Badgers that have intercepted a pass here already this season. So the Badgers get it right back. And there's the big back, Braylon Allen. Swallowed up quickly by Trevor Brohard, but he still picked up 4 yards. Wisconsin, they talked all week about how frustrated they were after that loss. You and I talked about it. They outgained Washington State 401 to 253 yards, but just had some mistakes along the way.
Penalties, double-digit penalties over 100 yards in penalty yardage will kill you every time. Turning the football over, no good. And then the missed kicks. Nothing they did in terms of gains and outgains offensively and defensively.
3rd down, another short run for Braylon Allen, but the numbers, you look at it and you say, how did you lose the game? Well, again, the penalties and the 2 missed field goals.
And coaches always talk about playing winning football, and it sounds so coachy, but this is what they mean by winning football is you can go out there, you can rack up yards, you can play extremely good defense, but if you give the ball back to the other team, if you don't make the special teams plays, and certainly if you're overly penalized, it's going to put you in a bad position.
Those 11 penalties were the most by Wisconsin since 2018, a program that usually is so disciplined. Mertz is going to go to the air, or he's going to try to, but Chris Ojo, the leader of that defense, gets in there and drops him for a key sack to bring up 4th down.
Yeah, and Ojo is one of those guys that I talked about as an impact player. When I say he plays the game like a linebacker, this is exactly what I mean. You see him standing up right over the center. He's just going to go ahead, get some pressure. Look at the way he uses his hands, and a one-on-one on a running back, that's exactly what you want a linebacker to do every time. That is a quality rep.
He led the Aggies last year with 5 sacks. He gets his first of the season right there, and that forces the punt. Vunavic angles it toward the corner, and it goes out of bounds. 7-0 Badgers, 4:18 left in the first. Football on the Big Ten Network is powered by Unleaded 88, the clean-burning fuel choice that's engine smart, earth kind. Time-lapse of the renovation of the south end zone and the laying of the new field turf here in the offseason. But in that south end zone, they removed 6,000 bleacher seats, added 2,300 premium seats, and it is really nice.
Premium is really premium over there.
There's even refrigerators for the folks that have the really good seats down in front. As New Mexico State begins this drive just inside the 20, and a design run. Not fooled. C.J. Getz gets in there. The senior drops Pavia for a loss. How about that? You get your own personal refrigerator and your own personal TV.
Man, that's a really nice setup. I might have to get back here for a game, make some friends with some Badgers, and see if I can sit over there.
Did you see that food spread? There were M&Ms.
It looks delicious.
It's like you when you request only the green M&Ms in the green room.
That's not me. I don't need M&Ms.
Another great play by this Wisconsin defense. Right now, New Mexico State struggling to move the football. Just 20 yards of offense. 2nd and 11, handing it off. And Jamani Jones lowers the shoulder. That'll bring up 3rd down. And we head down to Rick Pizzo.
Brandon, last couple of timeouts, I listened in to Jim Leonard talking to fellow assistant coaches and some of the Wisconsin defensive players. He is going to challenge them, put them on islands, much like he did with the Ricardo Hallman interception, something he said he couldn't do early in the season because of so much youth. A year ago, all sorts of adjustments because they had all those veterans. He could call anything, anytime he wanted. That's not the case this year, but in this game, he is challenging players the way he hasn't in the first couple of weeks. So far, they've answered every challenge.
Now remember, a defense that lost 8 starters from a season ago trying to get off the field here on 3rd and 6. Here's pressure. Pavia hit as he releases it incomplete. Daryl Peterson, one of those young guys, a redshirt freshman, came in there to disrupt the play.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to see him down here at the bottom of the screen, getting off the football, going to be unblocked. A free run at the quarterback. Love to maybe see a sack right there, but these pressures are making all the difference because when you challenge your secondary and you put them on islands, one of the components that you're counting on is that your defensive front can get pressure. Those things work together, and that was beautiful right there.
And you saw that list of all the players that departed from last season, and several of those guys now on NFL rosters, as Dean Ingram is quickly taken down to the ground. 7-0. Here's another one of those young guys, Ricardo Hallman, making the play earlier on his Badger defense. 7-0 Wisconsin. How that happened on the opening kick, Isaac Garindo returned it out across midfield. And then a 39-yard touchdown run 3 plays later by star running back Braylon Allen. Got the Badgers out in front, and then the play of the game so far defensively by the freshman. Ricardo Hallman with the pick, but still 7-zip. Paul Chryst, his defense doing a great job. The offense, after getting 80 yards in the first 7 plays, only has 5 yards on the last 6 plays. See if they can bounce back here. Handoff, and it will be Malusi this time. Chez Malusi out across midfield. And we've got our first T-Mobile studio update. Here's Dave Revson.
Well, Brandon, good start for Auburn, for Penn State against Auburn, I should say. Sean Clifford, his 3rd rushing touchdown of the year. 7-3 Nittany Lions on top of the Tigers, but Auburn on the move.
All right, Dave, certainly keeping track of that one of the bigger games across the Big Ten today. After the big Malusi carry, they'll set up play action. Mertz with a beautiful spiral, but out in front of Chimere Dike. Second time Mertz and Dike have not been able to connect.
Yeah, it's been that same thing going over to the wide side of the field, trying to hit Dike on the sideline. You want more accuracy out of Mertz on this one. 2 times it was schemed up perfectly to get the shot that you were looking for. I think just from a game plan standpoint, this was the right opportunity to take a shot, crossing midfield after a big run. These are the plays that I want to see Graham Mertz capitalize on.
23rd start today for Mertz. 14-8 as a starter in his Wisconsin career. Going to turn around, hand it off. Malusi makes a man miss, and to the 30-yard line. That was not a flag. That was a mouth guard that went flying there. 16-yard gain again for Malusi.
And these big guys up front, too, are doing such a great job. You see the puller right there. Get a piece of Ojo, the linebacker, so Malusi can find himself a sliver of space to get out there. And that's what you want. You got a great running back, 2 of them back there that can make a play at any time. These big guys up front got to latch on to those blocks, and it doesn't have to be for very long so those running backs can get some space.
Already 40 yards for the senior Malusi, who started his career at Clemson. Another carry here for him. He was the number 7 running back in the 2019 class, had a zillion offers, went to Clemson, was behind Travis Etienne, transferred here, and has kind of shown the world what he can do.
He's an impressive player, but I've had the opportunity to spend some time with him. I think he's an impressive person overall, takes his academics really seriously, loves being a part of this team. It doesn't matter what his role is. He just wants to go out there and make the plays that are best for the team, and Paul Chryst loves having a guy like that around.
Already 103 rushing yards for Wisconsin. Here's the number 3 back, Isaac Garindo. And a solid carry for the senior from Clayton, Indiana. Well, they told us yesterday, so much talk about Allen and Malusi, don't forget about number 20.
And we were told Gurindo was going to have an opportunity to make some plays out here. They like him as a little bit of a shiftier, change of pace back, has really good ball skills, catching it out of the backfield. But you saw him running through a couple of arm tackles right there, and that burst is so apparent.
Another running back who was injured last year. He was out the final 9 games after injuring his foot against Illinois earlier in the season, but back and healthy. The 17-yard run there. He's in the backfield again, and he'll get the carry once more. Right up the gut. And stop shy inside the 5-yard line. And that will take us down to the end of the first quarter. Wisconsin on the doorstep with a 7-0 lead over New Mexico State. Try to bounce back and get to 2-1 after the loss last week to Washington State. Wisconsin already 126 rushing yards. And these guys, you may think competitors, they're very close, Allen and Malusi.
They are, and they can both get their fair share of carries as well. I think they realize that. And part of it's riding the hot hand. Whoever's playing the best, of course, is going to get the bulk of the carries. But the other part of it is you got to spell the guy. Both of these guys have a place within this offense, and they both do something that provides value. I think they understand that.
Wisconsin already 4 runs of 10 or more yards by the 3 different backs, Allen, Malusi, and Gurindo.
I'd run a little play action right here, maybe some flow pass, try to hit a tight end.
They'll hand it off instead. Diving forward, touchdown. As Chez Malusi gets across for the Badgers. Another peek, let's see, to verify that he got in.
Boy, that's going to be a tough one to tell.
Yeah, I think that's one that it's going to have to stand.
I would agree. See here from this angle, don't know if it's any clearer, but they called that a touchdown on the field. I don't know if there's any way they could overturn it.
Again, a walk-on kicker today in Nate Van Zels with Vito Calvaruso out with a leg injury, and he's 2 for 2 on extra points. And Allen and Malusi with rushing touchdowns. Well, tomorrow, stream women's volleyball on the Big Ten Plus app. The 4th-ranked Badgers hosting Rhode Island. There's no plus like home. Download the app and subscribe right now. Badgers with 14 points. The Aggies with 15 total yards in this game. As they have not been able to move the football against that Badger defense. They'll have another opportunity here. So I told you that Nate Van Zels was doing the PATs and field goals. Gavin Lum is kicking off because the man who normally does the kickoffs, Jack Van Dyke, is also out with a leg injury. So both of the kickoff and kick field goal specialists are out today for Wisconsin. But Lum showing a good leg, 6 yards deep, and it rolls out of the back of the end zone. I told you about the volleyball program. How about 16,833 going to the Kohl Center last night to watch them play Florida? That's an NCAA record.
I'm sure the Kohl Center was rocking, and you can understand why. I'm a big fan of volleyball on the Big Ten Network. I love watching the Wisconsin Badgers play, so that place I know is electric.
Previous record was just under 16,000 set by Creighton in Omaha, and they topped that last night. Congratulations. Florida did get the win in 5 sets in a very dramatic ending. New quarterback is Gavin Frakes. We told you you'd probably see both of them. So Pavia is out. Frakes' first pass is a good one, but it's incomplete. Boy, he put that right into the chest of J.J. Jones. He just couldn't bring it in.
Yeah, you see Wisconsin bringing some pressure again. That's a part of their game plan for this one. And whenever you bring pressure, there's somebody from the secondary that needs to cover up. You're able to find that soft spot. You can hit it. New Mexico State didn't quite get it.
Frakes is a true freshman. He started last week in the loss against UTEP, but after being just 1 of 5 with an interception and a fumble loss, he was removed in the second quarter. Now he comes in today in the second quarter as the backup. And lets it go. A little unorthodox throw. in the direction of Cordell David, incomplete, 3rd and 10.
It's going to be a challenge for either one of these quarterbacks for New Mexico State to get comfortable. I keep talking about all of the pressure that Wisconsin's bringing, but it's just converging so quickly. The offensive line, the running backs are so overmatched versus this aggressive defense.
And again, it's an offensive line that has been banged up here so far this season. New Mexico State lost to Nevada week 1, got blown away by the Golden Gophers of Minnesota 38-0 in their second game, and lost last week to UTEP 20-13. Here on 3rd and 10, they'll opt to run it, but the pressure from Wisconsin's defense is too stout, and leading the way none other than the star defender, Nick Herbig, the preseason All-American.
And you know, Jimmy Leonard's talking about some of the young guys on the defense. They can't quite get a line. They can't do what they like to do. Look at Herbig right here. He was moving all pre-snap, and then he's just able to knife through that line of scrimmage. They can't get a count on him, and he's able to hit that for a tackle for loss. That's what you get with some of these veteran players, but also Herbig. So much explosion on the football field. He has the it factor.
Yeah, the it factor, that's what they discuss, how neat it's been to see him just dominate from day one coming on campus as a starter. And his play just continues to get stronger and stronger. Fair catch, but wait a minute here. Dean Ingram was interfered with. So the flags come flying out. .48-yard punt, but Wisconsin is going to get better field position than they had planned.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, kicking team, hitting the player after the play had ended. 15-yard penalty, 1st down.
So 15 more yards tacked onto it, and Wisconsin will start out across the 40-yard line. Ingram calling for the fair catch, and then he gets hit. Built for Success, brought to you by Rocket Mortgage, and we shine the spotlight on the sophomore from Fond du Lac, Wisconsin, Braylon Allen. Last 11 games dating back to a season ago. Pretty impressive, Joshua.
Special talent. That's all I can say about him. You set the tone early with a guy like that as well. Get him involved. It gives confidence to the whole team.
He already has 65 rushing yards in this game. Swinging it out, DK. That's his first catch, and making a face mask on the end of this as well. As it stands, a 6-yard gain, but there's going to be more added to it.
Personal foul, face mask, defense, number 6. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run, automatic 1st down.
And a clear there against Cyrus Dumas, the cornerback. Well, the last drive for Wisconsin was all on the ground. 63 yards via the rush. Here they start with a short throw that turns into a bigger play, and now all of a sudden they're already down to the 34-yard line. Going to the air again. Mertz setting it up, drops it off. And another 1st down. Jackson Aker, the fullback. It's the first catch he's had in his career, the redshirt freshman.
It's a perfect play call, in my opinion. You're just hitting them downhill, run, run, run. So you give them heavy run action. Your fullback's always going to be wide open in the flat. That's your number 1 read. It's an easy pass. You're able to get a chunk of yardage. This is what this Wisconsin offense should do. Hit them with a heavy dose of run, but also take advantage of those play action scenarios.
First touch of the season for Aker, who replaces a talented fullback in John Chanel, who graduated after last year. And now they hand it off to Braylon Allen, who tries to bounce it outside. And man, is he tough to bring down at 235 pounds. That should have gone for nothing. He got 3 out of it.
Yeah, I mean, there was patience right there at the beginning of the play, too. I mean, you see a guy kind of waiting for it to develop, but then the contact balance is this idea that I talk about. You hit a running back, but he's able to maintain balance, lurch forward, not just to fall forward for a couple of yards, but to actually run forward for a few more yards. I think he does this as well as any back in the conference. It's one of his major attributes.
Mertz, straight drop to pass, looking for the end zone, caught, touchdown! Keontez Lewis, the UCLA transfer.
I mean, this is exactly what you want to see from your quarterback as well. That pass that he delivered, accurate, on point, that's a part of the development right here. When you're Graham Mertz in this situation, you got a window. Put the ball on a guy's face mask. Look at that. Exactly where you want it to go. And Lewis is a player who's become explosive. They liked his process, and now you get to reap the benefits on the football field.
Lewis from East St. Louis, but decided to go out to UCLA to Westwood. 1 year there, did not have a single catch. This year, now 3 catches, and that was his first career touchdown. And how about this? Wisconsin with 21 points, New Mexico State with 14 yards. Mertz to Lewis for 6. Live summary brought to you by American Family Insurance. 4 plays, 3 of them passes. Mertz was perfect, including the 18-yarder to Lewis.
You know, you lean on the run when it's working, but we talked to offensive coordinator Bobby Ingram yesterday. He said, of course, every offense has tendencies, but you need to break them. That drive was a tendency breaker.
Prior to that drive, it had been 16 runs and 4 passes for Wisconsin, and there they went 3 passes and 1 run. Lom filling in doing the kickoffs, and Brady bobbled that one, and because of it, only gets it out to the 11. Probably should have gone down to a knee for a touchback, but bad field position as we check in with Rick again.
Brandon, that last drive was not just a tendency breaker for Wisconsin, it was a confidence maker for Graham Mertz. After the previous touchdown drive had been run heavy, the running backs offensive line were celebrating. Mertz was by himself, almost questioning exactly what he had done wrong on that previous drive. No big surprise to me that they came out big time pass heavy, and I understand he actually just went into the medical tent. He did not show any issues coming off the field there. I'll follow up on that and let you know if there's anything significant.
Yeah, we saw it. Hopefully nothing. You're right, he did look fine. Wasn't showing that there was any issue down there as this pass by Frakes is incomplete in the direction of Chris Bellamy. That'll bring up 2nd and 10, but right now this New Mexico State offense, they haven't been able to do anything. Their only first down in this game came via penalty.
I mean, this opportunity for the Wisconsin defense, too. You've got an offense backed up. Don't let them out of here. Put your offense in scoring position once again by making sure you can get off the field in 3 downs right here.
Their only completion came on the first snap for them on offense. Having not completed a pass since. Gavin Frakes, the true freshman, running for his life. He's in some serious trouble, being chased by Peterson. And almost threw the interception. Jay Shaw, the UCLA transfer, had his hands on it. Would have been something. His buddy that transferred with him from UCLA just had the touchdown catch, and Shaw almost had the pick to follow it up.
This play was all coverage right from the start. New Mexico State trying to get into a dash concept. You see all the defenders expanding their zones, getting in those windows so Frakes can't find anybody to go to. Then you see on the scramble drill, Shaw's almost able to step in front of a pass. That is perfect pass coverage right there, and the defensive line just gets to chase the quarterback around.
Shaw also had an interception last week, nearly another one there. Instead, 3rd and 10, and we have flags flying. They might not have gotten the snap off.
Prior to the snap, delayed game, offense, 5-yard penalty, remains 3rd down.
Let's get a quick Graham Mertz update. Rick, what do you have?
Good news for Wisconsin. Nothing of significance. As a matter of fact, Graham Mertz simply had a bit of an equipment malfunction that required, shall we say, the additional privacy of the medical tent.
You know, I was going to say maybe it was a wardrobe malfunction, but I didn't want to risk saying that in case there was a possible injury. But glad he's okay. Third and 15. Frakes from the end zone. Popped in the air and intercepted. Jean Meta down to the 1-yard line. The first career interception for the junior Muma Jongmeta.
Boy, this is exciting for your defense right here. Jongmeta is one of the guys that we've talked about. We want to see what the progression looks like. I think this is a great play. On the football field, we always used to say tips and overthrows, you got to get those. Wisconsin defense able to pull that one out.
I think the only thing Jongmeta was frustrated about was that he couldn't stay on his feet and take this to the end zone.
Look, he did better than I did on my first interception. I fell straight to the ground and then fell down on the celebration. He's in way better shape.
That one went right off the hands of Jimani Jones, who for a running back has really good hands, but could not hang on to that one.
And this it's a high awareness football play, just to focus in and concentrate on where the ball is, to locate it, bring it in, and then get as many yards as you can on the back end.
So that sets the Badgers up beautifully. Braylon Allen looking for his second touchdown of the game, but he's going to be tripped up at the 1-yard line. But those new linebackers for Wisconsin have been making their presence felt not only through the first 2 games of the season, but again here today. Jongmeta, the latest example. See the fullback anchor in there. Allen, second effort. No signal. Still no signal. Touchdown. Second of the game for Braylon Allen, 4th of the season.
We'll take a look at this replay here. We've got a slow motion look, leaning over.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's in. That's clear as day. Now, Braylon Allen's got to go over to the sideline. Those big guys get on the field goal unit and say, listen, sell it a little bit more, you know? Let's try to persuade the officials. Let them know it's a touchdown.
Put your hands in the air, right?
There you go.
3 touchdowns in the last 3:39 to blow this thing open here in the second quarter. And Van Zelt's doing his part. First 4 points of his Wisconsin career as he's converted all of his PATs. And the Badgers rolling. Muma Jongmeta, born in Cameroon, moved outside of Chicago as a child, had a great high school career at Buffalo Grove in Illinois, and just got his first career interception, setting up the short touchdown run by Braylon Allen. And all of a sudden, 3 touchdowns in 3:39, and the Badgers are off and running.
Got to be a great feeling coming off of what happened a week ago. Exactly the medicine that this Badgers team needed.
Again, they talked about turning that frustration into points and production on the field, and they've done that.
An opportunity as well. Paul Chris has talked about how this game presents opportunity for a lot of guys. That interception for Jongmeta is just one example.
Speaking of Jongmeta, we mentioned the linebackers and the turnover and the change they had there. They lost some very good ones. Chanel, Sanborn, and Burks, all excellent. Herbig stays, but 3 new guys come in.
And it's a challenge. This is a defense that relies on the inside linebacker specifically to make calls, to make adjustments. You had veteran guys before. Now you can't do that as much, and this is not a talent issue. Jim Leonard told us, the defensive coordinator, he loves the talent on this defense. He loves what the linebackers can do. Now it's just about as much as he can give them and they can learn and show out there on the football field is how successful they'll be this year.
Chanel, by the way, now with the Chiefs. Got Sanborn with the Chicago Bears. And here's a run by Star Thomas. He was one of your impact players. 9-yard gain, and that's something that they have not been able to do, is get good production in the ground game.
Yeah, he's able to come downhill, shed a tackle from Torchio, pick up some extra yards. Solid run.
His first year after 1 season at Coffeyville Community College in Kansas, and they'll call his number again. Second effort, picks up the first down. Look at this. A strong run by the 225-pound back out of Homer, Louisiana.
This is one of the things that you see out of tape for Star Thomas, is the fact that he's an explosive guy. He's able to get those yards after contacting. You don't want to see him in the open field because he can run away as well.
It's a New Mexico State program that had a rough couple of seasons. They got rid of their previous coach, Doug Martin. They bring in Jerry Kill, who of course has familiarity in the Big Ten, was the head coach at Minnesota from 2011 to 2015. So he knows about that Minnesota-Wisconsin rivalry. Never beat the Badgers, lost all 4 seasons. And this handoff to Jamani Jones going nowhere. Well, still to come, tripleheader rolls on. Nevada against Iowa, presented by Hampton by Hilton. That's tonight, 7:30 Eastern, under the lights here on the Big Ten Network. Iowa needs a bounce-back game in that one, don't they?
It's an opportunity to get that offense rolling right now. It's what everybody's talking about, but until they get it fixed, it's what we will continue to talk about.
Yeah, it has been a struggle at quarterback for Spencer Petras. Second and 11, trying to set up a screen, but just nothing there. And Pavia throws it into the dirt, and it'll bring up 3rd and 11.
You know, part of defending screens is just a recognition. You see Wisconsin defensively doing a great job of understanding what they're getting. You see that running back coming out, you're able to slide with them. You always have to have somebody applying pressure to the quarterback, but everybody else was on alert. They were able to pick it up. I mean, that level of recognition right there, right off the snap, stands out to me.
Jim Leonard's defense has held New Mexico State to 0 for 4 on 3rd down, trying to make it 0 for 5. Diego Pavia, as the pocket collapses, he is taken down all the way back inside the 25-yard line.
I mean, this is great coverage. I mean, it's the guys in the back end, really, from the beginning. You see this single high shell back here, safety in the middle of the field. You thinking man-to-man, all the guys are covered up. You see him drop down. Now quarterback saying, oh, man, the picture changed on me. What are they doing? It allows time for your guys up front to apply pressure. Again, this is complementary defense, and people talk about, offense has to be complementary to the defense. The different parts of the defense have to complement each other as well, and they did just that.
Brings up a 4th and 29. And a fair catch inside the 40. Nick Herbig with a big sack. No surprise there.
No surprise there. I mean, they say this guy has the it factor. You can see it, hyping everybody up. I'm excited for him, too.
I want to go someplace. I want to build a program. I want to sustain it. I want to take over as athletic director and continue the entire athletic program.
Dave Revson sits down with Barry Alvarez for a candid conversation. Big Ten Trailblazers, Wednesday, 8 Eastern on the Big Ten Network. School record 119 wins for Alvarez. Now Paul Chryst heads up the program, and Graham Mertz is able to connect with Skyler Bell. First catch for the redshirt freshman who they call Juice, and he provides some juice to start this drive with a gain of 37.
I mean, it's the same sail route concept that we've seen so many times. You want to clear out the corner on that side, running the wide receiver all the way across. You can hit him wide open. They finally connected on this. Another confidence builder. The offensive scheme is working. Graham Mertz now feeling and seeing what his receivers can do, connecting with them. It's a big step forward.
Chez Mellusi off the right side and takes it on the edge of the red zone for a pickup of 6. And a helmet came flying off of Cyrus Dumas, so they stopped the play.
Timeout for a defensive player with his helmet off.
This New Mexico State defense has already given up 3 touchdowns in this quarter, 3 in a row. Now Wisconsin 20 yards away from making it 4 touchdowns in a row. Mellusi this time on the other side of the field. Stiff arm. And it's going to be 1st and goal, Wisconsin.
I mean, that's a good run right there. You're not seeing anything to the interior of the offensive line. You keep bouncing it out, and then you have a man on the edge to beat. Give him a nice stiff arm. Great target right there. Gets a hand right on the helmet. That is actually something that you can practice. I would put this on the clinic tape. That was a really good rep on that stiff arm.
See, he kind of working out that right shoulder after he fell on the sideline. So they're going to take a look at Chez Mellusi. The torn ACL last year, missed spring ball, took him most of the summer to get healthy. Hopefully he's okay, but right now Allen gets the carry. Allen angling for the pylon, but he'll be tripped up a couple of yards shy. And Chez Mellusi, they just took him into the medical tent. So we'll try to get an update from Rick whenever we can.
Looks like they just ran an extra O lineman in there. Put in their heavy offensive set.
They're known to do that with this Wisconsin offense, especially down in these parts. Got the fullback Aker in front of Allen. Allen runs right behind him. 3 first-half touchdowns for Braylon Allen. Four touchdowns in 8 minutes and 47 seconds for Wisconsin. Remember, they only scored 14 points in the entire game last week. They've scored 28 in the second quarter alone. And Braylon Allen, 3 rushing touchdowns. We'll be back to Camp Randall in 30 seconds. Trying to make it 35 straight wins. When scoring 30 or more points, they already have 35.
It's the start they were looking for. I mean, they talked about coming out swinging, making sure that offensively, defensively, they can be assignment sound. It's been a very clean game. Everything that they've wanted, they've gotten so far.
Braylon Allen didn't even look like he was breaking a sweat. 3 touchdowns today, 5 on the season. Fair catch. So Chez Mellusi went into the tent. Let's get an update. Rick, what's the latest?
Well, Chez Mellusi just a moment or two ago came out of that medical tent. He spent 3 or so minutes in there stretching out that shoulder. Medical staff was asking him to kind of extend it as far as he could. Injury happened right in front of me on the sideline. He went down. You could hear the audible grunt as he kind of landed awkwardly. But as he came out, he did tell his teammates, "I'm good to go. No big deal."
Another look at it, but in a game like this, you wonder if they'll even bother running him back out there.
I mean, I wouldn't risk it. You shouldn't take the reps on it. It's already hard enough for running backs, as much contact as they take. So, certainly not worth the risk in this one.
Meanwhile, this Aggie offense trying to get something going, but after completing their first pass, they've now missed on 11 straight between the 2 quarterbacks, Pavia and Frakes.
And they were running heavy misdirection on this last play, too, and they still couldn't get anything going. It's not just the fact that Wisconsin's defense has the players that you want. It's the fact that Wisconsin's defense plays disciplined football as well.
Those quarterbacks have already thrown a couple of interceptions. Between the 2 Aggies quarterbacks this season, 1 touchdown, 8 interceptions. Faking the handoff, and Pavia is going to be stacked up a yard behind the line of scrimmage. This Badger defense bottling them up. Fewest yards allowed in a half since 2015 was 17 in the first half against Iowa. Last year, they've only allowed 11 so far.
I mean, 11 is just a ridiculous number. When you say it out loud, it's hard to believe how stingy this defense has actually been today.
They already have 6 tackles for loss. Trying to run up the middle, a few yards for Thomas, but not enough. I mean, Jim Leonhard, 39 years of old, the defensive coordinator, and they always say that, look, this guy's going to be a head coach. A lot of the Badger fans hoping it'll be here whenever Paul Chryst time is up. There were even some rumors nationally after Scott Frost got let go last week that maybe he would be the next Nebraska head coach. But he said this week when asked about that, he said, I am comfortable here. He did say, I'm not saying this is where I'll be the rest of my life, but I love this place. I'm from here. I love the people. So I'm not in the rush to jump from here that some people assume that I am.
Nor should he be.
Yeah.
what he's done here has been remarkable. A high standard, great players, and he's done a heck of a job coaching them up.
We'll continue that discussion about Jim Leonhard. We'll be back in 15 seconds. And I think you're right for Jim Leonhard. Really no rush for him. He's going to have opportunities.
He's going to have plenty of opportunities, and he gets to also be in the place where he cemented his name as a player. You come back, you develop a bunch of really good guys who have made awesome contributions here at Wisconsin on the next level. I don't see the rush in getting out of here.
Yeah, he was a guy who came here, Jim Leonhard, from Ladysmith, Wisconsin. And he came as a walk-on. Not much was he was a triple option quarterback in high school. He became a 3-time All-American, went on to have a 10-year career in the NFL, and now just keeps building these great Wisconsin defenses. Skylar Bell, a 4-yard reception on first down. Now Allen back out there. Braylon Allen tiptoeing. What a run. Sidestep Dylan early at the end of that for a couple of extra yards. He's done a lot today. Already 3 scores.
Yeah, he's done plenty today. I mean, you see this first touchdown again. The contact balance shows through. This guy is able to fight through physically, walking the tightrope. And then this one, his offensive line just collapsed.
There was
10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Remains second down.
So that run will be voided out. And the hold was on the center, Joe Tipman, and he had 2 holding penalties last week, Joshua.
Man, just gets that hand on the outside pad of the defender as well. It's one of those that you're probably going to get called on. It's difficult when you have a running back taking a wide approach, but you want to make sure you always keep your hands inside.
Please set the play clock at 40 seconds for a defensive helmet. Thank you.
It's a spot foul, so 2nd and 10 from where that penalty occurred. Mertz out of the gun. Mertz, beautiful ball right down the seam into the hands of Clay Cundiff, and the tight end takes it down to the 14-yard line.
Look, Clay Cundiff is one of these guys I'm super excited about. He's a physical blocker in line, but I said once he gets out there as a wide receiver, he is really good in space. And again, another very accurate pass right down the seam from Graham Mertz. And when this offense has been at its best, it's because the quarterback and the tight end have had a really good connection in the pass game, and that's an example right there.
Clay Cundiff, 2 touchdowns last week, but after the game he was despondent because he lost a fumble with 5 minutes left in the 4th quarter that really hurt the Badgers. Said he felt like he let the team down. Big 47-yard gain there for him. Mertz, another throw, and it's intercepted. Cyrus Dumas picks it off. So Graham Mertz, who had hit 6 straight, a bad throw there, and it's intercepted.
I mean, this is one of those that Graham Mertz just has to eat. Either throw it away, find somewhere else to go with it, even take a sack. In this situation, you're up big, but you know that was a risky pass with the ball. The window was tight and it was closing rapidly. And Graham Mertz is confidently, as he's played today, just wasn't able to fit it in here. Defender ran the route, got a little tip ball. That certainly makes a difference. Couldn't see that from up here, but one of those you wish you had back.
Yeah, that's Isaiah Reed. Defensive tackle, just got just enough of that to disrupt it. And now movement up front here with 2:58 left in the first half.
Snap infraction. Offense. Number 56. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
You know, and I mentioned on that last pass, Graham Mertz should eat it. The tip is a bigger deal, and I wasn't able to see it from up here. You have to be careful with these chances because that was pretty good coverage, but a tip ball made all the difference right there defensively.
First turnover today for Wisconsin, but now after the penalty, you've got the Aggies backed up, shadow their own end zone. That is not a misprint. 15 yards of offense. Wisconsin 3-11. Looking for a little space, and providing that space and then some. Start Thomas. First down. And that is the first down for New Mexico State that has not come via penalty in this ball game.
I know Jimmy Leonard's over there on the sidelines, probably hollering at his guys right now to make sure that they're wrapping up in their tackling. They had everything exactly where they wanted it from a schematic standpoint, have to execute on the tackles.
22-yard run for Start Thomas. So they came into that last play with 15 yards on the game. Thomas just got 22 right there. Pavia throws complete. How about that? Back-to-back first downs. As here he's able to connect with Lawrence Dixon, the wide receiver.
Yeah, it's a good route and a good catch right here for Pavia. Clearly getting the ball out quickly is the best way to go. When you got a wide receiver who's got a little bit of a catch radius right there, that wasn't a perfect pass. Helps clean things up.
First catch of the season for the redshirt senior Lawrence Dixon. Pavia. That one is dropped. David, they're going to say incomplete. Get another peek at it. He had it for a second. Jordan Turner was there to disrupt him, and now David is hobbling.
Get another look at this. Never had it.
Timeout.
Was able to finish that
Defensive
play
player
off.
injury.
Yeah, John Torchio got his hand in there, and then see Jordan Turner coming in late. We'll step aside for 30 seconds for the injury timeout.
If you don't repaint every now and then, it's like the old you is still hanging around.
I'm listening to music. You are a Libra and he is a Pisces. That is like a cosmic dungeon. You know what? Can you cosmically know? That's why I only date musicians. What are you guys eating? It's lasagna. I love lasagna. That's you guys.
So today, let's paint with Behr, America's most trusted paint brand, and make your home yours. Behr, exclusively at the Home Depot.
Big Ten Tailgate, presented by Buffalo Wild Wings, next Saturday on Big Ten Network.
Cordell David, who came in with 7 receptions to lead the Aggies on the season, has to be helped off the field here. An injury to the lower right portion of his leg, and he is out for the moment. Coming up, stick around. Reese's Peanut Butter Cups halftime report. Dave, Jerry, and Howard, you can see him getting ready, breaking down the first half and all the other action across the Big Ten. Michigan blowing away UConn. The Hoosiers a wild overtime win, and Penn State tangling with Auburn amongst the things that they'll be talking about in Chicago.
Jerry was in there getting his grocery list ready for when he leaves the office.
Pass complete. So finally this New Mexico State offense is starting to find some rhythm. J.J. Jones with his second catch of the game. Jerry Kill probably knows that this game is out of reach, but for them just to put up points before halftime be a confidence boost.
And frustrating for Wisconsin defensively as well, as much as they've stifled this offense up to this point.
Down around a minute remaining. Pressure from Herbig again. He almost got there. Pavia is able to escape and step out of bounds in front of Daryl Peterson. It is fun to watch Nick Herbig play.
I mean, he had to beat 2 guys on that rush right there. Got really close, didn't make the play, but flushed the quarterback out of the pocket, had your pursuit running. I mean, just so much energy in his game. It's ridiculous.
Started all 23 in his Wisconsin career. Second team preseason All-American out of Hawaii. Grew up over 4,200 miles away from here. And a place he calls the 808. That's the area code. Second down and 8. Over the middle. Ball is popped in the air. How about Kamoi Latu, Nick Herbig's best friend, who he played with in high school there in Hawaii. hit so hard he popped his own helmet off.
I mean, Latu coming downhill right there on the pass. You want to make sure as a defensive back.
Number 13 must leave the game for his helmet being off. There's no 10-second runoff because the clock was dead due to an incomplete pass.
You can see Latu right there. Ball comes out of the quarterback's hands. He's reading it all the way. Nice break and a great target right there to make sure you can avoid the targeting penalty.
Latu getting some increased time because Hunter Wolder's out with injury. Making his presence felt. Now a 3rd and 8 for New Mexico State. There's Herbig again, but able to complete the pass as the Aggies going to the outside to find Bryce Childress.
I mean, Herbig was close on 3 rushes in a row right there. And it's just his get off on the ball. And then watch the way that he chops down the arm of the offensive tackle so violently. You can see him bending at the waist. I mean, as athletic as he is, that was a very technical rush. It's really impressive to see it all come together like that.
First time today that New Mexico State had converted on 3rd down, and now a pretty good 1st down run by Star Thomas. Well, they have all 3 timeouts. 40 seconds. We'll see how they play this. A helmet just came popping off for Wisconsin and Jordan Turner. His face mask came off.
Look at the biceps and triceps on Turner right there.
Yeah, reminds me of myself this morning in the workout at the Hilton Monona Terrace.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's what a linebacker should look like.
But how about the face mask just popping off there?
They're hitting out there.
Number 54's helmet came off prior to New Mexico State's timeout. Therefore, they will be restored their timeout.
So the Aggies get to keep the timeout with 37 seconds left. They'll try to do surgery on that helmet. We've had 3 helmet pop-offs here in the first half.
Those boys are hitting. I don't know if I ever hit hard enough that my helmet would pop off.
Well, he just chucked that helmet. Maybe they're going to start over from scratch.
Game clock operator, please restore the game clock to 39 seconds.
They're going to the spare well over there on the Wisconsin sideline.
39 seconds.
They add 2 seconds to the clock here. $60 yards on this drive, and now they're going to try a reverse. Lamonte Watkins down inside the red zone before he is brought down by Caden Johnson. Oh, they're going to give 2 options now to Turner.
Well, there was a New Mexico State helmet that just popped off on that play too. So
4 helmets in this first quarter as it went flying off of Lamonte Watkins.
Number 8 must leave the game due to a helmet being off. There's no 10-second runoff due to the 1st down.
All right, everybody check the chin straps on their helmets real quick. 25-24 clock ticking here. Diego Pavia rolls and throws it into the ground, incomplete. 17 seconds. They still have all their timeouts.
There's no foul for intentional grounding. Quarterback was outside the pocket and the ball reached the line of scrimmage.
Looks like Jordan Turner is set to go, and thankfully on that last play, nobody lost their helmet. Well, New Mexico State, this drive started at their own 6. Remember, before this drive, they had 15 yards of offense in the game. 78 here. Off the play fake, going for the end zone. Incomplete, no flag. They say the coverage was good. Justice Powers, the intended target. Well, 3rd and 10, 13 seconds. I mean, you do have all 3 timeouts, but probably throwing this again toward the end zone, I would imagine.
You throw it toward the end zone, and quite frankly, I don't think trotting out your field goal group after this on fourth down does anything for you either. You might as well try to chuck it at the end zone on fourth down.
Handoff, they will run it. And now we'll see what Jerry Kill elects to do. Does he want to try to at least get 3 and remove that goose egg?
Timeout, New Mexico State, their first of the half.
We'll find out after this 30-second timeout. And Jerry Kill, it would either be a fourth down or a 30-yard field goal here, and he's going to try to just get points on the board as Ethan Albertson, his kicker, is out there. And officially it'll be from 29 yards. He's 1 for 3 this season on field goal attempts for the junior. And that kick is no good. So Wisconsin defense continues to pitch a shutout here.
Well, you said before, you might as well chuck it at the end zone on fourth down. There's always the off chance that you miss a field goal like you just did, but also 3 points isn't doing a ton for you. See it right here? Guys are elevating. It's just wide to the right. Can't get it in. Paul Chryst, coach is happy about that. Preserves the shutout for now. And then Jerry Kill on the other sideline, unsatisfied, and I can understand his grief right there.
So now Wisconsin will just take a knee. And thanks to 28 second quarter points, it is 35-0 Badgers at the break. A pretty complete first half.
They achieved everything I think they wanted to coming off of last week. Played solid defense, except for that last drive. I know Jimmy Leonard's going to get on them for that. Offensively, did some good things. Of course, you want to eliminate that turnover, and the special teams game has been pretty clean as well.
3 rushing touchdowns for Braylon Allen, as the Badgers over 300 yards of offense to get this big 35-0 lead at intermission. And we go downstairs and join Rick Pizzo.
Paul, your defense pitches the shutout, 15 total yards allowed before that last drive. What did you like the most about what they did?
I think they've just been playing consistent, and guys are playing hard, and it's been good. Obviously, it's a big pick by Rico early, but just got to keep playing. But I like the way they've come out and the intentions on it. It's been good.
Offensively, you said you wanted to see complementary, fundamentally sound football. Did you see that in the first half?
Yeah, I mean, there's been certainly some good things, and I think we can still clean up a couple more. Coming off having a great field position, we get a big play down in the red zone, and we throw a pick. Don't want to see that. We just got to keep working. A lot we can still improve upon.
Paul, always appreciate your time.
All right, thank you.
It was pretty complimentary in the first half. 146 yards through the air, 164 on the ground. Reese's Peanut Butter Cups halftime report next.
Halftime in Madison, it has been all Badgers. Pick it up early on. Braylon Allen setting the tone.
They had a fullback in the game, too, by the way.
I know, that warms your heart, doesn't it?
Is anybody else playing defense? I mean, what just happened there?
Like Thursday afternoon.
3 rushing touchdowns for Allen, his 5th career multi-TD game. Graham Mertz to Keontez Lewis, over 300 yards of offense for the Badgers. They are cruising 35-0 over the Aggies, who welcome you in the Reese's Peanut Butter Cup halftime show. Dave Repson, Jerry DiNardo, and Howard Griffith. About all you could ask for trying to bounce back from that loss last week.
All you could ask for, what we expected. That one pick in the red zone, the ball was tipped, so it could have been a good throw, just was tipped.
Again, this is about building confidence for your offense, starting to make some changes that they needed to, but getting back to that offensive line, doing a really good job of opening up those holes downfield.
And defense continues to play well. They are 30 minutes away from what would be the 10th shutout of the Paul Chryst era. We'll see whether they can pull that off. That's probably about the only suspense right now in Madison. Penn State and Auburn, it is far more suspenseful at Jordan-Hare Stadium. Sean Clifford takes it himself, an 11-yard touchdown. Nittany Lions, the first Big Ten team ever to play at Auburn, on top 7-3. Katron Allen, 3-yard touchdown. They've gone to the break. Auburn has 2 field goals, Penn State 2 touchdowns on top, 14-6. Colorado and Minnesota, this is an absolute rout. Mo Ibrahim, 3 rushing touchdowns. Minnesota has outgained Colorado 349-39.
One-sided.
One-sided indeed. Expert analysis.
Sound like you're
bowling his way.
He was reaching for something.
He has tied the school career rushing touchdowns record held by Daryl Thompson. Rutgers and Temple, there was not a whole lot of offense in Philly for Greg Schiano's team, but they brought the D. How about that play by Shaquan Loyal?
That's Big Ten right there.
Indeed.
Hand-eye coordination.
Pick six, just 201 yards of offense, but that proved to be enough because the defense was great. E.J. Warner off balance there, and Temple turns it over on downs on a 4th and 4 late in the fourth. Rutgers hangs on 16-14. Take you through some of the early games, including a rout for the Wolverines and a thriller for Tom Allen's team. The Cardiac Hoosiers do it again.
The Big Ten Network Halftime Report is presented by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups.
Don't forget, we got a primetime game tonight on the network as Iowa tries to get the offense back on track, hosting Nevada, 7:30 Eastern Time, presented by Hampton by Hilton here on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. Dave, Jerry, and Howard back with you. Got 5 games already in the books from earlier today. I want to run you through kind of a mixed bag of results for the Big Ten as we check out Michigan and UConn. This one was never in doubt. How about A.J. Henning here, Howard?
Come on, A.J. You know, he's really been doing a great job in special teams. He's back. He's healthy. And you just see what a difference maker he is. And this is really how you can get a game going and put it away when you have special teams play like that.
61 yards for the touchdown, was 31-0. Blake Corum was the offensive story in this game. 5 rushing touchdowns to tie a school record. 59-0, largest home shutout since 1975 for the Wolverines. Indiana and Western Kentucky, a wild game. Fourth quarter, Hoosiers down by 8. Connor Bazelak to Cam Camper. Indiana still down 2. They need a 2-point conversion, and they get it. Donovan McCulley, the converted quarterback, ties it at 30. Western Kentucky had a chance with a game-winning field goal at the end of regulation. They missed. Charles Campbell wasn't missing. In overtime, Indiana takes it 33-30. Tom Allen's team is 3-0.
They got a bunch of grit. They just don't quit. You know, it was ugly at times, and both sides of the ball did some good things and did some bad things, but we're still growing and learning. Got a lot of new faces. They're still figuring some things out. But bottom line is, you find a way to win, and that's what our guys did, so I'm so proud of them.
Trailed in the fourth quarter of all 3 of their wins. Purdue and Syracuse. Purdue down 25-22 in the fourth quarter. Aiden O'Connell to Payne Durham. Purdue takes a 29-25 lead, but the Boilers had 55 yards of penalties in the last 51 seconds. Gave Syracuse a chance, and Garrett Schrader finds a Rondé Gadsden for the touchdown as Syracuse wins it 32-29. Northwestern and Southern Illinois. Northwestern turning the ball over left and right in this game. How about 4 turnovers? Ryan Helinski sacked there. Cam Porter can't fall on it. Salukis recover. They're already up a touchdown at that point, and they seal the deal here. Northwestern loses for the 8th time in 9 games, 31-24. Nebraska and Oklahoma, and this one, well, I was going to say it was over as soon as it started, but the Huskers actually took a 7-0 lead, and then the Sooners just poured it on. 580 yards of offense. Braden Willis, DeMarcus Major off a little trickery there. 49-14, an easy Sooners win. Wisconsin appears on its way to an easy win. Braylon Allen, 3 first-half touchdowns, 35-0 in Madison.
The Big Ten Network Halftime Report is presented by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups.
Badgers sailing to an easy win in Madison. The UCLA transfer Keontez Lewis, his first career touchdown. 35-0, second half coming up.
Football on the Big Ten Network is brought to you by Auto Owners Insurance. Simple human sense. By Fubo, watch complete college football coverage, plus over 100 live channels of sports and TV without cable. Try free at FuboTV.com. and by Discover, the official credit card of the Big Ten Conference. Wisconsin through 2 quarters, absolutely dominant, 35-0. They lead New Mexico State. Before we even get to the third quarter, we welcome you back up top. Hello, everybody. Brandon Gaudin, Joshua Perry. That second quarter was really the difference. Wisconsin scored 4 touchdowns within a 9-minute span to really take control of this game.
And I think we expected the score to get out of hand in this game, but it's the way that Wisconsin's been able to do it that's really stood out to me. Is number one, you don't have the back-breaking penalties that you had a week ago, and there were some penalties to clean up, but when we talked to Paul Chryst, he said we don't coach our guys to go out there and be penalty-free. We tell them to limit penalties, which they've done. Played well on special teams, turned the football over one time, and I still think it was a risky throw, but it was a tip ball. So as you evaluate the ingredients to this performance so far, I think Paul Chryst and his staff should be very satisfied with the way that this team has played.
In putting up 35 points, they only faced 2 third downs, did the Wisconsin offense. Quarterback comparison presented by Unleaded 88, and they've been pretty balanced. 164 yards on the ground, Mertz 146 through the air, Joshua.
And balance is something that has been talked about when it comes to this offense. They want to go out there and be as balanced as possible, understanding that they're a team that likes to lean on the run, but what that balance also includes is diversity of formations, diversity of personnel, the different types of play calls, not just run pass, but the different types of concepts they put out there, and I think we've seen a lot of that as well.
New Mexico State will receive. At the end of the second quarter, they had a chip shot field goal to try to break the goose egg, but could not do it. And let's check back in with Rick Pizzo.
Brandon, thank you very much. While we expect to see plenty from guys outside the 2 deep on Wisconsin's roster here in the second half, very good news for backup running back Chez Mellusi. Official word, just a shoulder bruise. He has officially been cleared to return to this game, but as Joshua said a bit earlier, it would be a bit surprising if the Badgers took that risk in putting him back in this football game, clearly already in hand.
Yeah, before the injury, 8 carries, 67 yards, and a touchdown for the Clemson transfer. Diego Pavia hands it off to Jamani Jones, and Jones with a little push. A little bit of credit to that New Mexico State offense. They had only 15 yards until that final drive when they drove it 85 yards down the field.
Hit a couple of run plays on that one. Also were able to get the ball out of the quarterback's hands pretty quickly, which is what you need to do against a defense that plays as aggressively as Wisconsin does. So a little lightning in a bottle right there. Couldn't get it finished at the end with the missed field goal, but probably a confidence builder for that side of the ball.
Program that is trying to build anything. They're just 8-33 since the start of the 2018 season. In a rebuilding phase for sure, a continued rebuilding phase, but looking good here to start the third quarter. Jamani Jones, who came in averaging just 2.5 yards a carry, picks up 12 there.
Jones breaking a tackle at the linebacker level. And then one thing I want to see from Wisconsin, when it gets up on the corners, instead of waiting, go attack that running back and take his legs out, or a few extra yards that were in there cushion-wise for New Mexico State, because the secondary was sitting back a little bit instead of attacking on the tackle.
If you see those yards, this is the 9th drive, 15 on the first 7, 100 cents. This time Pavia wants to go to the air, and he's able to complete it out near midfield to Cordell David. Or rather, Jonathan Brady, the true freshman out of Vegas.
You know, one of the hallmarks of this Wisconsin defense, these linebackers are aggressive. They get into the line of scrimmage, and what happens is that slant window is now open where the linebackers used to be. New Mexico State doing a great job of hitting that window in the last play.
Here come the flags, and this is going to be on the offense.
Full start. Offense, number 51. 5-yard penalty. Remains second down.
You see that flinch over there on the offensive line. Those guys up front got to hold their water. Their advantage is they know what the snap count is. Can't make those types of mistakes.
Vaipulu, the true freshman, getting an opportunity to start today. And he commits New Mexico State's 5th penalty of the afternoon. You talked about Wisconsin cleaning up their penalties. 11 last week, only 2 so far in this ball game.
I thought it was a clean first half.
2nd and 6. Pavia. Diving attempt, but incomplete. Beyond the outstretched arms of Bryce Childress. Jerry Kill, his offense has struggled to put up points. In fact, they're 130 out of 131 FBS teams, scoring just over 8 points a game. The only team below them, Iowa. The Hawkeyes 7 points a game so far through a couple contests this year. Third and 6, pressure. And the pass incomplete. Trying to get it out to Jordan Parker, the redshirt junior, and they will have to punt the football.
I like Wisconsin mixing it up with the pressure too, dropping Herbig out and the offensive line, of course, turning their attention to him and then running a stunt on the backside, getting the pressure through. Now weren't able to stay up on their feet and convert it, but I like the concepts and the creativity there defensively.
Jim Leonard's defense doing it again. And now the punting unit, Josh Carlson, gets this away. Ingram, fair catch at the 18. Back to Camp Randall in a moment. Well, at halftime, they celebrated Wisconsin's women's athletics, highlighting the 50th anniversary of the passing of the legislation of Title IX and the impact that that's had on Wisconsin athletics. They had 50 of what they call the original influencers who have paved the way for the athletes of today out there. Pretty cool at intermission.
Certainly an awesome celebration there. History is rich within this conference in general of some of the influencers who have paved the way for some of the ladies out here. So certainly glad to see that.
And they had a pregame celebration as well off-site, making a big deal out of it this weekend. Meanwhile, 35-0. And the Badgers looking to add to it. Their first drive of the third quarter starts with a run by Braylon Allen. I didn't even know if they would bother putting Braylon Allen back out there after the big first half he had, the huge lead. He does get 2 yards there.
I think they want to get these guys out here in the first drive, maybe 2, just to make sure that they're still locked into the game plan, that they come out with the same urgency that they came out with in the first half.
85 yards for Allen, who, when asked a week before the season what his goals were for this year, he said, well, besides us winning a national title, I want to win the Heisman. He's got 5 touchdowns already this season, 3 today. Mertz underneath, and that is complete to the tight end, Clay Cundiff. He is roommates of Graham Mertz, and they have a special connection.
You know, it was a nice pitching catch, but I want you to watch Allen back here. We've talked about him running the football. You're going to see him in the dot right here. Pass protection is a huge part of what these running backs have to go out and do. Boom! Boy, you knock a guy on his back, get a second look at it. Got to be physical here. Got to keep your quarterback upright. Everybody else does their job when you're getting it. That was phenomenal out of him.
Off the play fake. Mertz under pressure. He's going to tuck it and slide. He's pleading for a late hit, and they will get the penalty flag coming down.
Having a discussion here. Wonder if they're looking at a potential targeting component to this hit. Take a look at this replay right here. Clearly giving himself up, and I think that is a question there of whether that was targeting or not.
Keyshawn Elliott, the freshman who came in there to make the hit.
Personal foul, late hit with targeting. Defense number 22. Previous play is under further review.
Jerry Kill shaking his head.
Been a few of those moments this afternoon for New Mexico State.
Yeah, just a tough start to the season for the Aggies. Jerry Kill in his first year leading the program.
Yes.
So now they'll talk with Mike Conlon, the replay official. And we welcome in our rules expert, Mike Pereira. Mike, what do you think?
Well, you got to look here to first determine is he defenseless. Now he's going to go to the ground. The play's basically over when he starts to break down. So now you're looking to see, do you have crown of the helmet? Are you in the head or neck area? And to me, leading with the shoulder and its shoulder into the chest. Now remember, they said late hit with targeting. So when I look at this, to me, I'd like to see targeting taken off, but then of course the late hit would stay. So you'd still have a penalty. But again, not crowned, is defenseless, but to me, shoulder to the chest. And I think this, to me, I'd rather they take this off.
Here's the call.
After further review, there is no foul for targeting on 22. He may remain in the game. However, the penalty for the late hit will still be enforced 15 yards from the end of the run. First down, Wisconsin.
So they took Mike's advice. Thank you, Mike. And they do remove the targeting for Keyshawn Elliott. But again, that 15-yard penalty will stay there. So the ball gets moved out to the 48-yard line.
Wisconsin right here in good field position after a penalty. Do you take a shot down the field? I certainly would. Get this offense energized, get these guys off the field.
They'll hand it off and go right up the middle, and that's Chez Mellusi. So, as Rick reported, they said he would be cleared to return, and they do give him a carry here, and he picks up 3 yards.
Bet you Chez Mellusi was over there on the sidelines begging to get in the football game. He said, listen, all the other starters are out there. I'm a guy who's known as one of the top line guys on this team. Let me get a couple reps too.
Real name Cesare, named after his grandfather. And when he moved to Naples in middle school, people started to shorten it to Chez, and it's stuck ever since. Now in his senior season. Mertz to the air. Wide open. Caught. Skyler Bell. See you later. Touchdown, Wisconsin.
All right, so I was a play early on the take a shot concept, but you get soft coverage out there and you're just finding a window between the corner and the safety coming over the top, and that safety was way out of whack in their angle. I mean, look at that, the perfect play, finishing it off, great ball, great catch. Graham Mertz happy too, and if I were him, I certainly would be. That was an awesome play.
49 yards, and for Skyler Bell, his first touchdown in a Badger uniform. Redshirt freshman from the Bronx. Van Zels for the extra point, and the walk-on kicker remains perfect today, hitting all of his PATs. It's now 42-0. And Bell, congratulations on his first score. For the biggest Wisconsin experience, there's no plus like home. The Big Ten Plus app, your favorite Badgers content, streaming and on demand. Download and subscribe now. Graham Mertz to Skyler Bell, 49 yards. Now they enjoy a chat on the sideline. A 49-yard touchdown pass. That's the number of yards that New Mexico State has total in this game through the air. Got to feel good for Bell, who battled a hamstring injury last year, was never fully healthy, only played 14 snaps at the end of the year, and now gets his first career touchdown. Another kickoff through the end zone for Gavin Lum. Upcoming schedule brought to you by Fubo. A big one coming up at Ohio State.
That's why this game is so important. If you're Wisconsin, come out here, clean up the mistakes that you had. Maybe install a little bit more offensively, defensively, to put more on tape, to put more on your player's plate. Because when you go into Columbus, you know you're going to have to be at ultimate strength in order to get a win in a game like that.
Badgers, as they often are, the preseason favorite to win the West. A loss last week against Washington State, dropping them to 1-1. Start Thomas hit in the backfield. Big Ten storylines. Every team in the East 2-0 entering the weekend. Only one team in the West, undefeated Minnesota. And rushing attack we know good, and the Hoosiers coming back today to avoid an upset by Western Kentucky.
I mean, the 3-0 start for the Hoosiers is certainly big because of the way that they played last year. But how about these running backs in the conference? I mean, Blake Corum, I believe, had 5 touchdowns for Michigan today. These guys are running all up and down the field. I mean, probably the best running back conference in the country.
Another tackle for loss here. Just going nowhere. James Thompson, Preston Zachman there. Loss of 3. But what do you think about the West? Wisconsin the favorite, even after the loss to Washington State. Where do you think they stack up?
I mean, the West is wide open. Coming into the year, I wouldn't have picked Wisconsin as a favorite. I like Minnesota. I also like Purdue, and Purdue hasn't gotten off to a hot start, so you can see that there's a lot of parity here. And the beautiful thing for all of these teams, Purdue has a conference loss, and Nebraska does as well. Most of these teams, everything's right out in front of them. So it's going to be interesting to watch, but as you look at Minnesota, it feels like the team that's certainly separated up to this point.
And Purdue a non-conference loss today at Syracuse. That pass is wide of the target. If it wasn't wide, Mumajong Meta may have had another interception. So a punt coming for the Aggies. But this is what I was referencing. Big Ten writers do the preseason poll, and 31 of the 36 pick the Badgers.
Yeah, and, you know, looking at this Wisconsin team, for me, you lost a lot on defense. I wanted to see what the replacement guys would look like, and they've been up to par. I was in wait-and-see mode with Graham Mertz, to be completely honest, too, because he's been so up and down, and this staff believes he's gotten consistency. But, you know, you look at one of the other picks up there in Iowa, and we talked about them earlier on this broadcast, but
getting a fingertip on that maybe, or did he get that away clean? Either way, it's only going out to the 50-yard line. When Max Lofi almost got a block, just a 27-yard punt. We'll talk about Mertz more when we return. Graham Mertz out to pilot another drive. He's 10 of 13, 205 yards, 2 touchdowns, and the 1 interception. As Wisconsin has this huge 42-0 lead with still 8:43 left in the third. And the growth of Graham Mertz, you know, Paul Chryst told us he thinks he really sees it, and I think there have been a few examples today where we've seen it.
Yeah, and Bobby Ingram told us yesterday, the offensive coordinator for Wisconsin, that Graham Mertz really had to kind of humble himself in the offseason. It was the first real look into Graham Mertz that he got, and then had to shift his paradigm from I'm going to go out there and make all the plays to I'm going to be the guy who can facilitate all of the plays, and that certainly helped.
Malusi with a short run as they serenade us to Build Me Up Buttercup here. So Mertz, that first career start after the pandemic, he was so good. 5 touchdown passes, only 1 incompletion, and everyone thought, oh my goodness, this kid was highly touted. He lives up to the hype. Well, the next 13 games, he struggled. 10 touchdowns, 18 turnovers, but since then, starting to trend back upward.
And this is what you want. Winning record, a lot more touchdowns and interceptions in those last handful of games. A quarterback who can deliver a strike like that into a coverage window that's extremely tight. And he doesn't have to do that every play, but when he takes his chances doing it, he can be accurate. I think that's the difference right there. I mentioned this thing about being a facilitator. You're going to turn around and hand the football off, right? You're going to throw some of those short passes. But when you have to get it down here in a window, can Graham Mertz make that throw? And he can. And this offensive staff has talked about his love of watching tape, that he's a football guy. And that's what's starting to come together in this equation.
That's what we call paying off a graphic when he completes a 28-yard pass to Chimere Dike. Yeah, they said he is a film junkie, and his work ethic has really gained the respect of his teammates. Because, look, last year when he was struggling, there were cries from some of the Badger fans. Should this guy be the quarterback? Should we replace him? But he has really hung tough through all that adversity.
No, he had to prove it to a lot of people. I think himself first and foremost. Go into the mind of an athlete. When you're seeing the negativity and you're hearing it from the outside, you have to look in the mirror and get right with yourself, but also with his coaches, with his teammates, and now everybody out here can watch the games and see him moving the team down the field efficiently.
He's going to get another opportunity here, and that pass is caught. It's another touchdown for Skylar Bell.
I'm not exactly sure if this is going to be the last drive for Graham Mertz. I think it is, and that's a heck of a way to cap it off. Look at that excitement right there.
And for Bell, he goes over 100 yards to go along with the 2 scores.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good route creating the separation, but also being able to get that football up over the head of the defender and then dropping it right into the basket. You know the sideline is right up on you, so you don't have a lot of room for error with that pass. That's a very good play all around.
And for Graham Mertz, his 3rd touchdown. A guy who came in highly touted a few years ago, and we talked about his struggles. There haven't been many struggles today. This quarter, he's a perfect 4 for 4 with 2 touchdowns, celebrating by himself, celebrating with his head coach. Well, this week, a little Thursday night football. Fighting Illini squared off with Chattanooga. Presented by Hampton by Hilton, Thursday, 8:30 Eastern, Big Ten Network, Fox Sports app. Good day for Graham Mertz. Good day all around for the Badgers, who after the loss last week dropped from number 19 to out of the rankings, but they have had no trouble today with New Mexico State. And the true freshman, Gavin Lom, to kick it off again. Tell you what, he may be the backup kickoff guy, but he's been pretty good. T-Mobile Studio Update. Here's Dave Revson.
Thanks, Brandon. A route for you guys, a route in Minneapolis as well. Tanner Morgan, his 3rd touchdown pass of the game. This one to Clay Geary. 42-0 Gophers over Colorado.
All right, Dave. The Gophers, of course, at one time were headed up by Jerry Kill in his first year now at New Mexico State. In fact, Jerry Kill was the Big Ten Coach of the Year when he was heading up the Gophers in 2014 when he led them to an 8-5 campaign. But his team today just overmatched here in Camp Randall. Speaking of Minnesota, next week they go to East Lansing, and there's a big conference battle here between these 2 programs. 3:30 Eastern, powered by Unleaded 88 on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. We're going to be there. That should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think we're going to learn something about Michigan State tonight as they head over to the West Coast to play Washington. But for Minnesota, the schedule's really lined up for them to continue to build. So I think that's going to be the first big challenge. I'm excited to be on the call for it.
2nd down and 8. Pressure. And hit as he released it, but Pavia did get rid of it and is able to find Tomas Whitford for a short gain.
Tomas Whitford is a guy who I actually really liked as I flipped on the tape throughout the week. He's not a huge feature in the offense, but he dictates a lot of what they want to do in the run game. He's had some great reps in the pass game, just haven't been able to really throw it against anybody this year. But that's a guy who probably doesn't get enough credit for New Mexico State.
It was his first catch of the year, and this time Hallman on the next pass able to bat it down. But they're going to need guys like Whitford. Look, they're independent this year. Next year they join Conference USA, and it is a big rebuild right now. But they're going to need guys like that to step up if they're going to try to find a couple of wins later this season.
I think part of the paradigm for players, too, is in the offseason, you just got to forget everything that's gone on in the past, and it's very difficult to do so. But moving into a conference after being an independent is a new beginning, and it gives you a clean slate to write your own narrative for the years to come.
They were most previously a part of the Sun Belt Conference from 2014 to 2017. They're a little friendly fire as Ingram gets knocked down by Tatum Grass. Back in 15 seconds. As we suspected, Graham Mertz's afternoon is finished, and they bring in the true freshman, Miles Burkett from Franklin, Wisconsin. Played 2 series in the 4th quarter, week 1 against Illinois State, but did not throw a pass. And so now he gets an opportunity here in his 2nd collegiate game. Isaac Garindo in the backfield, and they will hand it to Garindo. And he's going to get a couple of yards. Also keep in mind with a guy like Burkett out there, you can play up to 4 games in the season and keep that red shirt if Wisconsin opts to do that.
It was such a foreign idea in my mind when that rule change came about, because I remember guys who would be on the travel team that hadn't really played, and they were like, man, I don't know. If somebody gets hurt, I don't want to burn my red shirt. I think this is great to get guys live game reps, see them out in the environments that they're going to be playing into in the future while still maintaining that eligibility down the line.
Last year he was the Wisconsin Associated Press Player of the Year. Here he flips it out to Ingram. It's actually a lateral, so that'll go as a run. Graham Mertz, 3 touchdowns, really good today.
Yeah, and I think the most impressive thing for me was some of the windows that he had to throw into. You got corner and safety, you got to get in the mix over, you got to drop it over a cornerback right on the sideline where there's not a lot of buffer and room for error. That's the most impressive part to me. The decision-making overall I thought was fantastic as well. Maybe had one that he would want to get back, but this was the bounce-back performance that a lot of people, including myself, were looking for.
This is only Wisconsin's third down of the game. Hit as he throws. Burkett lets it fly. What an adjustment by Dean Ingram. Used to be a cornerback, switched to wide receiver. His dad is now the offensive coordinator, and he has a 37-yard catch.
The young Ingram made a phenomenal adjustment here. Check the replay, see him fighting through a little bit of contact, traps it in there between his arms. Looks like a good catch.
And there is Dad Bobby in his first year as the offensive coordinator. Of course, Bobby was a 3-time All-American receiver himself at Penn State. Went on to have a 14-year career in the NFL at that position. And that was his son Dean's first catch in a Wisconsin uniform. And now Garindo almost broke that as he got inside the 20 to the 19.
That run right there hit straight downhill as an aggressive direct run. I certainly like the mentality of that. Going back to Bobby Ingram, one of the things that stands out to me, you're a guy who played wide receiver, did it for a long time in the NFL. You become an offensive coordinator, but one of the reasons that he was attracted to this job here at Wisconsin is because of what the offensive identity has been, which is running the ball, play action passing, moving the pocket a little bit. And for a guy who's a wide receiver, you would think that his paradigm would be totally different. And he embraces what this is, also with some new ideas and some route concepts that are impressive.
Yeah, I told you about his playing days, and he was an NFL assistant for 3 different teams, including the last 8 years under John Harbaugh with the Baltimore Ravens. But he did have a stint with Paul Chryst with the Pitt Panthers in 2012 and 13, and that's really where that relationship began.
I know both of these guys have a lot of respect for one another, and I mentioned the differences in the way that they see the game. A former quarterback and a former wide receiver certainly helps when it comes to drawing the plays up.
Garindo around the corner, into the end zone. And they will say that he got in, but wait, a flag is down back at the line of scrimmage, so hold up here.
Holding. Offense, number 82. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Remains first down.
Well, that's on the tight end, Jack Eschenbach, so that will erase the touchdown.
Yeah, you're going to see Eschenbach right here as this play gets started. And this was a similar situation earlier on in the game. As these running backs start to hit the outside and the defenders slide off of the blocks, you see tight ends, offensive linemen grabbing. One of the things Paul Chryst talked about was how they need to move their feet to be able to stay on those blocks. Those are 2 examples that we've seen today where they can still improve on that skill.
We're 2 minutes and 24 seconds from one of the great traditions, jump around here at the end of the 3rd quarter. As Burkett throws complete inside the 5, and look who it is again. It's the younger Ingram, Dean Ingram. He's saying, keep feeding me.
I mean, that was another great ball by Burkett, but you're going to see the catch too. I think this is really hard visually for Ingram. You know, you've got that defender right there. You got to get it over. Ingram's not the biggest wide receiver on the field, so tough to see, but a great ball as well. This offense certainly taking on a little bit of a new form in this game, and you can feel the confidence, whether it's the 1s or the 2s that they have right now.
3 completions by Burkett have all gone to Dean Ingram. Now Garindo up the middle, and he will polish the drive off with a touchdown. Eight plays, 70 yards.
Yeah, I know everybody in this building is happy for Guerrero. He was a name that continued to pop up for us in meetings about a guy who has earned the opportunities, earned the chance to carry the ball here at Wisconsin. So for him to finish off that drive with the touchdown, I know means a lot to many people within this program.
And now 5 rushing touchdown by 3 different players in this game. Allen with 3, Malusi with 1, and Isaac Guerrero joins the party. Back to Camp Randall in 30 seconds. Well, for the biggest Big Ten experience, there's no plus like home. The Big Ten Plus app powered by Big Ten Network. Download it and subscribe now. Paul Chryst feeling pretty good over there on his way to his 67th win in his 8th season with his team cruising 56-0. That's the only thing that's gone wrong for Wisconsin. The ball coming off the tee before Gavin Lom can kick it away. If you weren't with us earlier, both of the kickers, Vito Calvaruso, who does the PATs and field goals, and Jack Van Dyke, who does the kickoffs, they're out with leg injuries. So that'll be interesting as they head the Badgers to Ohio State next weekend. How does the kicking game do? Lom has been really good. Everything has gone for a touchback. Let's take a look at our mayhem moment brought to you by Allstate, and it's the interception by Mouma Jean-Meta.
And this is a focus and concentration play. You see the guys rallying to the football right there. When the ball pops up in the air, tips and overthrows, you got to come down with them. Jean-Meta probably wishes he would have ended up in the end zone, but put Wisconsin in perfect scoring position, getting the thing started off on defense, and I know that linebacker group is going to take pride in being able to take the football away.
His first career pick that set up a score that at the time made it 21-0 and now 56-0. Gavin Frakes back into the game at quarterback, and he flips it outside to Bryce Childress. So the flopping of quarterbacks for New Mexico State continues. They've gone back and forth between Diego Pavia. Now the true freshman Gavin Frakes returns. That was Frakes' first completion of the day, 1 for 6, and now they return to the ground for a short run. You can sense right now the students, they're all staying around for the jump around.
Oh, yeah.
And they're starting to build the excitement and anticipation of that.
Very few opportunities for them to come in here and do that throughout the football season, so none of them want to miss it. I'm excited that we get to take it in today.
3rd down and 5, and flipping it outside, Frakes incomplete as he tried to get it to Tim Gans, who is coming for the first time at running back. So another punt for the New Mexico State Aggies. Ninth punt of the game for the Aggies coming up. Dean Ingram back to receive the punt. And a fair catch out near the 35-yard line. Flag comes in around midfield.
After the play was over, personal foul. Late hit, receiving team, number 34, 15-yard penalty. It'll be 1st and 10, Wisconsin.
Well, that's on Jackson Aker, the fullback, who also makes appearances on special teams. Well, for the biggest Wisconsin experience, there's no plus like home. The Big Ten Plus app powered by Big Ten Network. For your favorite Badgers content, download it and subscribe now. So Wisconsin had 28 points in the second quarter. They now have 21 more here in the third. Graham Mertz gets to enjoy the rest of this one from the sideline. New quarterback, so just one drive for the true freshman Miles Burkett. And now Deacon Hill, the redshirt freshman from Santa Barbara, California, comes in there and turns around and hands it off. And that'll take us to the end of the third quarter. We talked about the great tradition, jump around, and we will have that for you when we get back to Camp Randall. They came to get down. They came to get down. So they got out their seat and they jumped around.
They did, and I can feel them all jumping up here. It was a little wobbly here in the booth, but an exciting scene nonetheless.
24th year of jump around. Started back in '98. What a tradition. Garindo tackled in the backfield. Good play by DJ McCullough, although a flag does come in near the line of scrimmage. You really can, for those who may not believe you, feel the press box shake during jump around.
Yes. Like, a lot of people in here are jumping. Like, I don't know why anybody wouldn't be able to believe that at home. Trust us.
76,000, and yeah, we're bouncing up here when that goes on.
Personal foul, chop block on the offense, number 67 and 61. Half the distance to the goal. Second down.
Okay, so you had a couple guys engaged there, and that will cause the penalty. Back the ball to the 10-yard line.
Essentially get the high-low action going on.
The penalty will be declined. Third down.
And typically the way that these go is it's a miscommunication. Coaches don't coach their players to execute a chop block. Somebody's going to cut. They don't talk about it. And that's typically how it goes.
And you may have heard the referee, Cole Kneppel, they declined the penalty. So the football comes back out to the 17-yard line. Third down and 13. Deacon Hill, the quarterback, and he's in some trouble. And he's going to be taken down back around the 5-yard line. Butta Paletti, true freshman, able to get in there and get him. So fourth down for Wisconsin. And a guy who hasn't had to do much in this game, the punter, Andy Vunovich, will be called in after that 10-yard loss.
I always wondered what it's like for a punter, and you haven't been out in the field in a little while. You're swinging your leg just to make sure it's still loose, but you got to get back into the flow of things. I always wondered what that's like for a specialist.
Well, that's his first punt since the first quarter. We'll see if he's rusty. He's a veteran, third-year starter, who last season set the school record in yards per punt at just under 47 yards a kick, and here he angles it out of bounds. 13:50 left in a blowout. Badgers cruising.
56 points of offense, but there's a goose egg on the other side of the scoreboard. This defense came to play early on, not just the front, but the secondary, and it's been in a complementary fashion. I mean, you see these guys up front moving around. They're getting penetration. They're making it easier for the coverage to go out there and do their job, but at other times the coverage extending plays so the rush can get up to the quarterback. This has been a really solid all-together performance top to bottom. Jimmy Leonard's got to be impressed. He challenged his defense to respond this week, and they have done that today.
0 points, only 130 yards allowed, the 2 turnovers, the interceptions, 8 tackles for loss. for Jim Leonard's crew. He's in his 6th season, and during his tenure, their ranks in the FBS, first in yards per game allowed, third in points, and first in third down defense. Flag comes in here. Going to take a shot, and they got him. Open downfield, and extending. Did he get in? No. They're going to say J.J. Jones is down at the 1. 56-yard play, but we will wait for the flag.
Holding. Offense, number 78. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. First down.
And New Mexico State, just when they thought they had something positive to cling to, it's wiped out.
Yeah, you're going to see it's the right tackle on this play who's going to do the holding. Of course, you want to take a shot down the field. If you're New Mexico State, it's the only thing you could do. But you can see he locks his arm up around there. That's going to get called every time, especially when the quarterback's trying to evade the pocket.
And this defense, which you know there is pride on the line to try to pitch a shutout, they breathe a sigh of relief.
Yes, they do, especially since we just played that nice package for them. They got to live up to the hype.
New Mexico State today, just 8 first downs and 9 punts. More punts than first downs.
Wow.
As Frakes outside the pocket. That is intercepted. Bounces off and into the hands of Jake Chaney.
I mean, this is another really impressive defensive play. Again, on that same tip type of mentality, just focusing on being able to take the football away. And look at Chaney down there with his teammates celebrating. A guy that this defensive staff was really excited to see in-game action, but disruptive tight coverage around the football, pops right on out. And again, another linebacker being able to jump on it. And then you're going to see defensive coordinator Jim Leonard. He's been in these situations as a player before, and now as a coach, celebrating with his guys. You can see the smile on his face. I know that excites him.
And that means for Jim Leonard's defense this year, 7 interceptions by 7 different players.
Wow.
So everybody getting into the act. First career pick for Chaney. And Burkett actually came back in at quarterback. So Burkett and Deacon Hill, the second and third QBs, alternating drives here. But he turns around and hands it off. But should something happen to Graham Mertz, they want to find out who's next in the pecking order, but they really like this true freshman.
And you can see why. A couple of throws on the drive that he was in previously, I thought resonated. It felt like a solid command of the offense, although it's difficult to tell in these situations. But I think you're right. One of the things that's not talked about enough, especially when you have a quarterback that you're still trying to build consistency with, is what does your contingency plan look like? And so today, again, a great opportunity for that.
I mentioned that he went to Franklin High School in this state, Miles Burkett. Led them to a state title last year, 14-0. And their final game in the state championship right here at Camp Randall. So he got a sneak preview.
Nice little taste of the atmosphere.
And he was fantastic in that game and actually became the first in-state quarterback to earn a scholarship out of high school here since 2003. It had been a while. Keeping it on the ground, Guerrero, first down and more. Isaac Guerrero, touchdown. Second of the game for the senior.
Guerrero showing pop and burst on this one. That's the thing that we heard about him. We sat down with the coaches, and a lot of guys, when they're making that cut, they turn like a school bus. He's over there stopping on a dime, getting back vertical. I think that's really good. I mean, you don't see guys who can find that daylight and burst through it the way that he just did right there. It's pretty impressive.
He won state titles in 3 different track events in high school in Indiana. And you look at him, like 225 pounds. He's probably not that fast, more of a power guy. No, he can run.
He's got wheels.
He can run. And with that 30 yards rush, the Badgers are over 200 yards on the ground. We'll be back in 30 seconds. This was the crowd at Camp Randall right before jump around began at the end of the third quarter. And they've left because they wanted to see jump around, and now it's 56-0, now 63-0, and they're out of here.
I understand it, as a attender of games, I usually like to stay to the end, but my wife always looks at me like I'm crazy. She's like, dude, let's get ahead of this traffic a little bit. So I get both sides.
Well, they've got 3 multi-touchdown scorers today, do the Badgers. Braylon Allen with 3. Bell, the receiver, his first 2 career scores. And now Garindo, after that 30-yard touchdown run, he has a pair. Fair catch at the 1-yard line. Quick Clips brought to you by Sport Clips. It's the 3-touchdown day for Braylon Allen.
Yeah, I mean, everything you want to see out of this running back, we've been able to see today. I'm very impressed by his vision constantly, the physicality that he brings, but also the fact that as big as he is, he can be explosive in the open field. And it's not going to be on this Quick Clips, but boy, he had a rep in pass protection today that needs to go on the clinic tape. It's not just running the ball, he does it all.
He does it all. Their backs have done it all today. All 3 over 70 yards, and all 3 have scored. Off the play fake, Gavin Frakes throws and completes that to Chris Bellamy. Nice catch along the sideline.
It's a heck of a catch
for the junior from Dallas.
I mean, this is tight coverage right here. A little battling going on. Get your head around, try to get a hand on the ball. That is phenomenal concentration right there out of Bellamy.
Starting to see some of the young guys get in there on defense. Al Ashford III, a freshman cornerback, was there in coverage. First and 10 up the middle and a solid run. 8-yard gain. That's Tim Gans. He's getting an opportunity. He's kind of the 4th guy in that running back room behind Jones, Thomas, and Watkins.
A little bit of a smaller guy back there too. Maybe can hide behind his offensive lineman until he sees the daylight come open. Those guys are always a little bit tricky to try to get a grasp of.
And back to Gans. First down. Okay, you were a part of some good defenses at Ohio State. How much does it matter to these guys to try to get that shutout here today?
Oh, it matters. It matters. I mean, in the locker room, if this isn't a shutout today, the young guys are going to hear all about it. The veteran guys are very pleased with what they've done, but this is a big point of pride. And I think for some of the veteran players as well, they get a little bit disappointed in themselves. Like maybe if I gave him that one more coaching nugget on the sidelines, they would have been able to close it out the right way. So it definitely matters.
Mexico State trying to mount a drive here at the 40. And they'll go with Gans again up the middle. You just look at some of the names out there. They're getting beyond the 2 deep on that Wisconsin defense. An opportunity for some guys that don't normally get time, that might not get a lot of time the rest of the season, to shine here in the 4th quarter.
This is big. I don't know if people understand how hard reps are to come by, even in practice. So for the young players or the guys who typically aren't in rotation to get out there and actually get a taste of some game action against people they don't know is extremely valuable. It pays dividends down the line.
That time, Brian Sanborn, redshirt freshman, a legacy, getting the tackle there. The final drive tonight, 11 Eastern. Don't miss it. Presented by Auto Owners Insurance, recapping the entire day across the conference. Defensive starters enjoying their chat on the sideline after a good 3 quarters of work. Frakes off the play fake. Going way downfield. Did he haul that in? I think he did. What a catch by Jordan Parker. The coaches say he's 160 pounds, dripping wet, but he's got speed and some good hands.
I mean, runs by single coverage. We'll check it out here just to make sure this is a legitimate catch. Looks like he gets a foot down. Generally looks like there's a control of that football right there. That's a heck of a play.
Avion Jones, the freshman, was there defensively trying to jar it free, but yeah, Parker with a great catch. Parker, former JUCO All-American, and now he's got him at the 1-yard line. Handoff, fighting up the middle, and he's in. Amonte Watkins, the TCU transfer, gets New Mexico State on the scoreboard.
Just a physical downhill run right here for Watkins, bouncing off of some contact, backing into the end zone. We got Coach Kill over here on the sidelines cheering for his guys. I know there's no such thing as a moral victory in football, but to be able to get down the field against the defense the way it's played today, I know they can use that as a building block into the future.
And Jerry Kill was at TCU last year as a special assistant, and that's where Watkins was. And when he went to New Mexico State, he took Watkins with him. Football on the Big Ten Network is brought to you by State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Wisconsin's offense, 529 yards, 63 points. Well, New Mexico State did just get into the end zone for the first time. So 63-7 here in the fourth quarter. Brandon Gaudin, Joshua Perry, Rick Pizzo, producer Bart Fox, director Andrew Blaustein, our entire crew on hand from Camp Randall. And next week we get a peek at Minnesota at Michigan State. Be a very interesting contest to watch in East Lansing. That one will be right here on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. And more football still to come tonight. The triple header rolls on. The Hawkeyes try to bounce back. They'll collide with Nevada. Presented by Hampton by Hilton tonight, 7:30 Eastern on Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. We talked about some of the heat that Graham Mertz faced last year and the start of this year, Joshua, but no quarterback is under the microscope of the Big Ten as much as Spencer Petras of Iowa right now.
Petras has been disappointing up to this point, and that's just being totally honest about the situation. But Iowa's instilled their confidence into him. You have to ask the question about what Padilla might look like daily in practice as a backup quarterback. They're in a rough spot right now in terms of the quarterback position.
Last in college football in scoring at 7 points a game. Small sample size, but they'll play tonight on BTN against Nevada. And a first opportunity for Julius Davis. He's the fourth running back on the depth chart for the Badgers. Fourth-year junior from this state who had 21 carries last year and getting a chance here in the middle of the fourth quarter. Miles Burkett back in at quarterback, and they're going to give him an opportunity to throw it. And he drops it in there beautifully.
Boy.
Really nice pass to Jalen Franklin, the senior tight end, for a gain of 21.
I mean, that goes whizzing by a defender's head. That was a kind of crazy pass. You're not exactly sure you want your backup taking some of these chances necessarily with guys converging in that window, but that's a confident throw right there. I know that this coaching staff is going to love that confidence.
Burkett enrolled early in January, so he had to get a couple of extra months, went through spring ball. He is confident out there. 1st and 10. Handoff, and Julius Davis takes it into enemy territory. Some other guys that Bobby Ingram mentioned to keep an eye on late in the game if it was out of control. One of them, Nolan Rucci, redshirt freshman, former 5-star offensive lineman they're really excited about.
I mean, this place in Wisconsin has been an offensive line factory. I think from the outside, a lot of people have been wanting it to continue to stay that way. Maybe it's fallen off a little bit, but you get a young guy in this program like this, and the size is what sticks out to you. They don't make guys that are 6'8", couldn't buy one in a factory. If you can develop him into what we've seen before here at Wisconsin, I mean, the sky is the limit for him.
And the sky continues to be the limit for the running back room. Allen, Malusi, and Grindo have all had great games, and now Davis gets a gain of 33.
I mean, it's the same thing with all these guys. Credit the offensive line for being able to move the line of scrimmage, but these running backs are extremely talented when they have the ball in their hands as well.
Davis, a guy who came here in 2019, had a core injury from the senior year of high school, so he didn't play. 2020, just 1 carry. Last year, they got him into the mix a little bit. He played the last 5 games due to some injuries that they faced in tailback. But just tough with all the good running backs ahead of him, Allen, Malusi, and Garendo. But he's had a good run on the previous play, and now here he gets a gain of 4.
Nice little burst through the line of scrimmage. Again, fighting through some contact. It's, in games like this, I think difficult to grade players' performances at times. But one thing you can always look at with running backs is how much they can create on their own. So that means when you have to shake a guy or when you have to blow through contact, you do that. And every running back on this roster consistently does that.
Another chance. And down to the 9. Nolan Rucci on that offensive line. That sounds familiar because his brother is the tight end, Hayden Rucci. There he is getting into the mix, creating some space.
Well, the hard part about getting movement right off the line of scrimmage for a guy that size is it's difficult naturally to get underneath the defender's pads. It takes a lot of bend. So the taller guys, to me, you look at them in pass pro, they should be good. I'm always more impressed when they can drive guys off of the ball just because the size is actually a disadvantage in that regard.
Miles Burkett at the last second is just going to get rid of it before he's chucked out of bounds. And that'll bring up 4th down. So an opportunity for Nate Van Zelst to kick his first field goal. Redshirt freshman walk-on has been perfect in the PAT category. Starting kicker Vito Calvaruso, who struggled last week, missed 2 field goals in the loss to Washington State. He re-aggravated a leg injury a couple of days ago in practice. So that opened the door for Van Zelst from Glenview, Illinois, just north of Chicago. And he's taken full advantage. He is perfect. 27-yarder up and good. 66-7.
Dave, Jerry, and Howard with you. 66-7 Badgers and Madison. Pretty good bounce back.
Pretty good bounce back after last week's win. It doesn't matter who you play. You win a game, you're happy. And for Wisconsin, they get ready for Ohio State next week.
You win a game. How about Penn State going on the road? Really impressed a lot of people. I think right now, the best win of the Big Ten season to date.
Man, you could certainly make an argument. We'll show you highlights of that one, plus plenty more on this game as soon as it is over on the State Farm postgame. Let's send you back to Madison.
All right, David, it's just 3:58 from being over. Well, it's been over for a while, but to literally be over, 3:58 left. And a lot of push-ups for the Badger today out there.
Yeah.
Bucky's been busy.
That's tough. I've always wondered, do you maybe sub out at halftime?
He's not going all the way down.
Okay, all right. So you work your way up to all those push-ups, even doing them.
Let me tell you something.
Even doing halfway push-ups, and you see if you can make it this far. It's difficult.
Have you seen my physical stature, Joshua?
I have. That's why I'm telling you to.
I mean, Rick, come on. You got to take up for me here, right? I could do 66 push-ups.
Brandon, it's not just the 66. He did 66, and before that he did 63, and before that he did 56. You start to do the math, you're talking about like 185 push-ups. So after the fact that there's no chance you make your flight home tonight, we'll go back to the hotel, and I want to see you bang out 185, and I'll give you the full 15 minutes that it took Bucky to do them.
I don't even need 15 minutes. I think it's easy, and I think Bucky's form was poor. I'll show him how the correct form is done, too.
That is so critical. Having been an athlete myself like Bucky is right now, I couldn't disagree with you more. That's a difficult feat. I can't believe it.
And it is pretty humid, and he's got that outfit on. He's done 318 total push-ups today, according to our statistician, Ethan Cooperson. Oh. By the way, the last time Wisconsin scored 70 points, which obviously they're 4 away from, I'm a math major as well, 10 years ago, and it came in the 2012 Big Ten Championship game against Nebraska in Indianapolis.
Yeah, I remember sitting at home watching that game on television. Brett Bielema's team in Wisconsin, I mean, really laid it on in that game. Monty Ball had himself a day, didn't he?
Yeah, over 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. But Badgers unlikely to get there today.
I want to go someplace. I want to build a program. I want to sustain it. I want to take over as athletic director and continue the entire athletic program.
Dave Revson sitting down with Barry Alvarez, a candid conversation. Big Ten Trailblazers, that's Wednesday, 8 Eastern on the Big Ten Network. When they put down the new field turf, they renamed this Barry Alvarez Field. And quite an honor for a man who left quite a legacy here before stepping down as AD last season. 3rd down and 4. Completed to the outside to Chris Bellamy. 1st down. Coming up after the game, Big Ten Live Football postgame presented by State Farm, breaking down all the action. Push-up contest, you, me, and Pizzo. Who finishes 1st, 2nd, and 3rd? Before you answer, let me just say, I'm 1st, you're 2nd, and Rick is a distant 3rd.
Okay, so I think actually...
Timeout for a defensive injury.
Hang on here. An injury here for Wisconsin, and that's Brian Sanborn, who's down. We'll be right back in 30 seconds. You can see Sanborn grimacing, a little shaken up. Redshirt freshman trying to get some reps, and he'll go to the sideline here late in the 4th quarter. Gantz with a run up the middle.
We got to settle this push-up thing now, because I don't like the way you left that off. I would say, actually, Rick would come in first.
Wow.
I know that he's an exercise fitness guy. I would be 2nd. I'm at a disadvantage with as big as I am, believe it or not. This is a lot of weight to move. Okay, and then you are a distant, very distant 3rd.
Yeah, there's no question I would be a distant 3rd. I'm just trying to save a little face up here. Thankfully, nobody can see me up here in the booth, so they can't tell that I'm 165 pounds soaking wet.
When they look at the on-cams, they can certainly tell.
2nd down at 6. And running it to the outside, Watkins, boy, he got hit late there, but no flag is going to come in.
Those were always the most fearful hits for me as a defender. I never worried about getting hurt. I worried about putting my team in a bad situation, because you want to finish a playoff on the sideline, but you're kind of in that in-between. Do I really throw my face in there? And there was no penalty on this one, but it is a bit of conflict. You play the game full speed, but sometimes you cross that line.
They did not get the penalty on Amon Williams. Say the hit was clean. 3rd down and 1. And we are within 90 seconds of the State Farm Live post game. Back in Chicago. A lot for the guys to cover. Certainly they'll be continuing to talk about this dominating Wisconsin performance leading up to that date next weekend in Columbus. Well, if they're going to pull off the upset, what do they need to do next weekend?
Well, I think they have to be extremely physical on defense, show multiple fronts, which they've shown all year long, just to put a challenge into Ohio State's mind. And then offensively, they're going to have to handle all of these new looks from this new Jim Knowles defense. So it's going to be a challenge. We understand what kind of personnel Ohio State's working with, but Wisconsin has an opportunity to create some edges within that game.
Yeah, that's a big battle next week in Columbus. A lot of people down on Wisconsin after that loss to Washington State. And look, some people may be at home saying, hey, this is New Mexico State. They're struggling. They're going to be 0-4. What does this win mean? But I think it does get Paul Chryst and his guys confidence heading back in the right direction.
You get back on track. You get your passing game in a rhythm. Your running backs all get good run. Your defense comes out here and has itself a heck of a day. I don't care who you're playing. Being as stingy as they've been all day, effectively a shutout when your 1s and 2s were in the game, is a very difficult thing to do. There are a lot of great takeaways from this one.
And that'll roll down the final few seconds. Paul Chryst and the Badgers got up 35-0 at intermission, and they cruise 66-7 is the final. They had 260 yards on the ground, 6 rushing touchdowns, 595 total yards in the victory. That'll do it from Camp Randall. Coming up, Dave, Jerry, and Howard will take you the rest of the way. For Joshua Perry and Rick Pizzo, I'm Brandon Gaudin signing off from Camp Randall. So long, everybody.